WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Francis and Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stat Sportsworthy and Brian Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. Landon Schmidt, he's producing. We're Sports Time. We're with you for the next 3 hours. A ton to get into today. NBA news to talk about. NFL schedules were officially released last night, even though we knew most, if not all, of the schedule before it was ultimately revealed. We'll talk a little bit about that. Got to talk about the PGA Championship that started earlier this morning. Ton to get to, but Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Doing great, Brian. And the golf course, for some of the bigger names, it's not very nice to them. For some of the lesser names, they're tearing it up.
Yeah, it's early today. It was certainly looking a little tough for a lot of the guys out on the course. I mean, there was a long time there where it was like 10, 11 guys all at 3 under, and a massive log jam. So now this afternoon loosening up a little bit, but yeah, you mentioned some of those big guys. Everyone's so excited about the 1, 2, 3 group, and you look at what those guys did. Rory McIlroy coming off his major, 3 over, Xander 1 over, Scotty Scheffler 2 under for the day. So a real struggle for those guys. Justin Thomas, a guy that has really played well to start the year, he's really struggled today as well. So yeah, I mean, you look at that leaderboard right now, and they've got it up on ESPN. It's a lot of names.
My guy Stefan Jaeger tied for second.
Yeah. Aaron Rye in there too. The 1 week I don't go Aaron Rye, he's in the mix.
Your team, Aaron Rye.
I sure am. So, but no, I mean it's a lot of.
What does this leaderboard say to you?
Hopefully it gets better.
What's it say to you, Landon?
Just wait.
Yeah.
Says to me Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it feels like. All of these majors, you can, if you were at 3:00 on any major going, oh man, look at who's leading. Take a step back. Take a big step back.
The famous, who was it? Like Mike Hulbert, a couple of times, Mike Donald a couple of times. But I will take you back to a Thursday in 1991, played in August, meeting a friend of mine at Regalia. You know where the great steak place right there.
Ruth's Chris.
Yeah. In Regalia. It originally went in the early 90s when that was developed. It was the Cooker.
Okay.
Meeting a friend of mine for lunch there. I get there early. Imagine that.
Of course.
Get there early, and they have the PGA up, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Leading like 6 under for the round, John Daly. Nobody knew John Daly. There were people in Memphis that knew John Daly,
sure.
People in eastern Arkansas that knew John Daly. The world did not know John Daly.
Yeah.
He led wire to wire.
Maybe
the rest was history.
Maybe we see something. I still, one of my good friends who is a big golf fan, he still makes fun of me to this day. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I don't remember what it was. It was one of the majors. Maybe the British Open, and there was like an amateur that was like second after the first day, and I saw him later that night, and I was like, hey man, do you know anything about this guy? And he was like, really? You're asking me about an amateur on a Thursday? And I was like, yeah, I mean, really good first round. And he was like, okay, get back to me on Sunday. And that guy was nowhere to be found on Sunday, and he was like, yeah, keep on asking me about people after Thursday. I was okay. Yeah.
Ryan Gerard,
good day for him.
Real good day. Luke Donald will be European Ryder Cup captain.
Yeah, how about that?
Ryan Fox, Alex Smalley, Stefan Jaeger. How about that? Cam Davis, Aaron Ra, Alex Noren, JT Poe. It's like the leaderboard's upside down. John Goin texted me, said, brutal, isn't it? I said, it's like we picked bottom up instead of top down.
It's something. I mean, it is. It's a weird. I mean, it's almost like this is what I would imagine like the leaderboard for like the Century or something like that, like one of those early January, tournaments where you just kind of look up and you just see all this like hodgepodge of
Back to
names.
football.
Exactly. Yeah, that's always kind of like what this leaderboard is right now.
Scotty Scheffler has to love this.
Oh man,
2 under, wasn't close to his day, wasn't bad,
No.
didn't throw anything away. Just hang in there.
Yeah.
On Sunday, if it's Ryan Gerard and Alex Smalley, he'd love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, he is certainly in a
To the
good
Gerard
spot
and Smalley family, please accept my
I mean,
apologies.
good luck to you. I hope
it's a
you do
great
well.
story Monday, and we get to
Yeah.
talk about how wrong we were on
Yeah,
Thursday.
I would love to learn more about Ryan Gerard. Right now, got nothing. I read something earlier about how his first round was really good. That's about all I know on old Ryan.
That year in '91 for John Daly, he had a couple of good tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Had played real well in New Orleans. It wasn't team then. He had played real well in New Orleans, like in the springtime, but just nothing to indicate he would do that. He had a pretty good 1990, but I promise you, outside of a lot, he had a lot of friends here in Memphis. He did, and Arkansas people did not have a clue who he was, and he burst on that scene at Crooked Stick and never looked back. Won 2 majors by 30.
That's impressive. That's really good.
And won a Open championship at St. Andrews. That counts triple.
Yeah, I was about to say, that is really good. But no, it's been fun to watch, and some of those start times this morning. For a 6 a.m., they're getting after it.
That's
obviously,
dew busting.
7 a.m. out there, but still,
7's early anywhere.
7's early anywhere. I was at the gym this morning. And it was probably around 7:45, and I was like guys on like 14. I was like, they're basically getting ready to finish their round. And I'm just starting my day, so it is early, but still a lot of guys out on the course, and we'll see. Hopefully we're talking about some bigger names tomorrow afternoon when we start the show.
Did you at all enjoy the end of Golden State last night? We talked about it yesterday. You said you weren't going to hate watch.
No, I didn't hate watch. We'll see what happens next. It's obviously kind of a fork in the road moment for Golden State.
Steve Kerr says they could have won it all if Steph doesn't get hurt.
Well, Steph Curry is incredible. I think they probably could have won the series if Steph was in. It certainly would have been a better series if Steph was in. But yeah, I know a lot of people took delight in last night. I was listening to a couple podcasts this morning, and it was almost parades in the street that ding dong, the witch is dead moment.
I felt that way.
Yeah.
Said yesterday I was going to, and I did.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm completely fine if that's how you feel. Obviously, a lot of people here do not like the Warriors at all, and hey, we talked about it yesterday. The evil empire with the mix of all of the winning, and then you've got a guy like Draymond Green. It's not a great.
It's their fans.
Mix. It's a lot of everything, but I'm still kind of.
It's their West Bay fans. It's their San Francisco Warrior fans.
Yeah. But I'm still in the camp of I don't want to put the nail in the coffin as long as you got Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green out there. They got to do something this offseason.
May I play the other side of it?
Some changes, please.
Jimmy Butler ever won.
That's true, but
big bad playoff Jimmy.
Yeah, but he has stepped up. He's gotten Miami Heat as an 8 seed all the way to the NBA Finals. That's if you're doing that next to Steph Curry, I feel really good about that.
Again, not trying to be a wise guy, but Miami Heat hanging banners for runner-up.
No, certainly not.
Proud franchise.
Very Heat culture, Brett. Mm-hmm. It is the whole thing has their own. They have jerseys with Heat culture on it. Did they throw those away? That was not.
Well,
a good
sometimes
look.
you can rebrand the culture.
That was not a. It was not a good look. I did not like the Heat culture.
And in that finals, how good was he?
I don't know, bro. That was a long time ago. I can't even remember.
But it doesn't stand out, does it?
I know that playoff he was really good. I can't remember
playoff Jimmy.
Sure, but when you've got that type of pedigree, when you've got that type of player of Steph Curry. He solves a lot.
He does, but with every birthday, more and more of those little things happen.
You're absolutely right. But who knows? I would not put it past them seeing another run. You look at Indiana right now. Who thought they were going to go on a run this year and be in the Eastern Conference Finals? The Knicks. We were we just got both the Eastern Conference Finals wrong. A group lock on both of them.
Group wrong.
Group wrong, yes. And so, I mean, you really never know. And when you've got a franchise that has been that good, I'm never going to count him out. Until I hear Steph Curry say, I'm retired, I'm calling it quits, then that's when I'll say, all right, the era is over for Golden State.
That's probably really, really smart. I'm just hoping it's over.
Yeah, and that's a way to look at it.
And after we see all the rosters and off-season moves, we will do this at some point after all the rosters and moves are made, and we'll probably do it again on season's eve. Who are the Grizzlies really ahead of in the West?
And who knows? With, like you said, some of these moves that could happen, teams only getting better in the West, and that's a good question because. Certainly
but you can just say, yeah, we're better than them.
Teams 9 through 15 this year. I mean,
one of those, Dallas.
Exactly. And they're going to get better. The Spurs were one of those teams. They're going to get better. So, yeah, I mean, that's hopefully if you're the Grizzlies, hopefully you're getting better. Hopefully you're one of those teams that's improving this offseason.
Could be.
Sure. But
sure should be.
Should be.
But we were expecting a lot of this by now.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
It feels like it was yesterday. It was hard fought, but the 2 over the 7 Minnesota.
Yeah.
Then everyone thought the Grizzlies were way ahead of Minnesota.
Yeah. And now look at where Minnesota is, and look at where the Grizzlies are. I mean, it's hard to believe. What those two franchises are doing right now. So no, I mean,
think about all the playoff teams through the years. I don't know if ever ahead, but certainly comparable. Peer group with Oklahoma City.
Sure.
Not close.
Yeah.
Comparable peer group at one time with the Clippers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not close now.
Yeah.
Ahead of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Not close now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The West keeps getting bigger and badder. And
so with that, I think I know the answer because of that. What's the better of the back-to-back conference championship appearances for Indiana or for Minnesota? And do you think people realize that?
That's a great point by you. I think it's certainly tougher for Minnesota.
I mean, it was just in the last few days that I remember, Minnesota was in there last year.
There's been a lot of talk about Indiana.
Kind of knew it about Indiana because I really like Rick Carlisle. Yeah. But those two, which one bigger?
I would say Minnesota. Mm-hmm. I mean,
because
being in the West and having that, obviously Tyrese Halliburton's still very young, but
and they went into that last 8 days, they could have been seed anywhere from.
They were right there. We were talking about that massive game at FedEx Forum against the Grizzlies, where if you're the Grizzlies, you win this one.
We're playing more defense right now in this studio than the Grizzlies played that night.
That was a take the over
horrendous
game.
Effort.
That
was an effort.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was. And now you look up, and I mean, just from that game, where those two teams went the rest of the season, it is very different. And so now
that's not one of the losses you can circle as that one cost you, but that one said a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, you knew how big that was going into it. And then, you saw the way that it played out and, some of the effort there during that game. And it wasn't what you wanted to see in that big of a game. So, no, really fun stuff in the NBA playoffs. Like you mentioned, Minnesota going back to another conference finals. Boston, they showed that.
Not so fast on that ticker tape parade through the Canyon of Heroes in New York City.
That was impressive from Boston last night. And it was a little bit
had to bow up.
Sure did. You got Luke Cornett coming off the bench and playing out of his mind.
Did you watch the last 2.5 minutes of that game down to the clock hitting 0 and it being over?
I did not.
What were the combinations for both teams?
I believe it.
There.
I believe it.
Wow.
I believe it. Yeah, I mean, it was
when we have those Grizzlies moments when you go, can you believe that 5's on the floor? Can you believe that 10 that they were on the team?
Wow. I love that. But it was kind of one of those where you already had foul issues.
Get in the scorebook.
And foul outs for New York. They're saying, hey, let's just get everybody off the court. Let's regroup for next game and send everybody out there. And
next
Boston
game tomorrow night.
That's huge.
Madison Square Garden, Lower Manhattan.
That's going to be insane. I'm ready for it. I'm excited. The last time, over the weekend when they were there, it was incredible. So I hope
street scene afterwards will be basketball VE day.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun, and hopefully, I think the Knicks wrap it up there.
It's either that or it's back to Boston
and then
all the heat,
look
all
out.
the pressure.
You do not want to be the Knicks in that situation if you're back in Boston for Game 7. So we'll see how it plays out. But both games last night, really fun. We'll talk a lot about that later in the show. Only one game tonight, Thunder at Nuggets. OKC, they have the opportunity to close that series out on the road tonight, 7:30 on ESPN. Well, we've got a lot to get to today, so let me set it up before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Steve Macy, he'll join us. We'll talk showboats with him. Another loss for the showboats on Sunday, but now this weekend, another good opportunity for them to get another win against San Antonio, a team that has really struggled this year. We'll talk to Steve about last week's game. We'll preview this weekend's game with him. 3:45, we'll do a PGA Championship leaderboard update, talk about everything that's happened today, go through some of these guys on the leaderboard, an interesting group of guys towards the top. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. He'll join us. So much to get to with Keith Smith this afternoon. Obviously, the NBA playoffs, Jason Tatum's injury, the draft lottery, a ton to talk about with Keith at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we'll break down the NBA playoffs, what we saw last night. We'll preview tonight's game between the Thunder and the Nuggets. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Rex Hoggard from the Golf Channel will join us to talk PGA Championship, everything we've seen today, what we expect the rest of the weekend. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. We'll talk a lot of probably schedule release there. Obviously, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but the full release last night. And also, a story I wanted to get to. Have you seen this Caleb Williams story that is coming out on ESPN about him pretty much going through every avenue to try to avoid being a Chicago Bear?
We will ask Steve Macy if that could have happened with the UFL.
And then a lot of questions
next
there.
spring.
Sure. And a lot of questions of if he had gone to the UFL. Would he have played? Would he have just sat and been on the team to say I was in the UFL so that I can go and choose my team?
Declare free agency?
Yeah. I mean, it is a very weird story about a book that's set to come out in September.
I think the UFL needs something like that now. It's not. We'll talk to Steve about it.
Sure.
It's really not set up to be the poacher like AFL, the old American Football League with Joe Namath and even USFL, Canadian League with Rocket Ismail and Tom Cousineau and a couple others through the years.
Yeah, but definitely a weird story for Caleb Williams. We'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about it with Steve as well. And then 5:45, wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. It's pool time, and Family Leisure is already booking pool installs for 2025. Buy now and get on the list for your pool installation. 2024 pools starting at $19.99 installed with liners starting at $299. All pool accessories up to 20% off. 5 to 6 person hot tubs starting at $69.99, and swim spas and cold plunge tubs now $2,000 off. Don't forget about patio furniture. Select sets now up to 50% off, and if you mention this ad, get free installation only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Brian. I'm Brett. We're Sports Time, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. And we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. Landon Schmidt, our producer, every day. And we also will have every guest join us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Always from our Family Leisure studio. And this hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673, but they invite you to stop by the only Lexus dealership in Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be the NBA playoff action from last night. It started with Knicks at Celtics. A lot of people already planning the parades, and New York would have had parades if the Knicks got to the Eastern Conference Finals. They were already working on them. But Boston said not so fast. They get the win 127-102, extending this series. They'll now go to New York with the Knicks up 3-2. Luke Cornett was awesome last night. Derek White was awesome last night. Peyton Pritchard was awesome last night. It was everybody.
The Luke Cornett game.
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, that sequence where he had a block on one end, a dunk on the other end. I mean, I was getting excited. First time I've been excited about Luke Cornett basketball, maybe ever, if I'm being honest. But it was fun to watch last night. The three-point shooting really propelled Boston in that game last night against the Knicks. The issue that led to 2 losses earlier in this series was a big factor last night. They go 22 for 49. That's 44.9% from 3. Derek White, he was 7 for 13 from 3, had 34 points, and the Knicks really looked lost a lot of the times defensively last night especially against the 3-ball. It really looked like the Knicks kind of came into this game going, we're up 3-1. Jason Tatum got injured last game. We'll sleepwalk through this one, and we'll get ready for
offense
Indiana.
or on defense, how they would blitz at Brunson.
That's a really good question. But I mean, defensively was the one that stood out to me because Boston was getting
127
so
points.
many. Yeah, well, that and just the open shots that Boston was getting last night and some of the miscommunication or just non-communication that I think you saw defensively. In that second game, the Timberwolves finished the Warriors 121-110, winning that series 4-1, and now that means back-to-back years the Timberwolves have been to the Western Conference Finals, and this team that, like you mentioned, Brett, in the last week of the season was pretty much in the same spot as the Grizzlies. They are now in the Western Conference Finals. I remember, a couple years ago when that was going to be the new rivalry, those two teams meeting up in the first round. Now one team has got a new coach and looking for big moves in the offseason, and the other is sitting in the Western Conference Finals. What just happened? I see you over there.
It's a
freaking out.
hole-in-one.
Really? Wow.
All right.
Who is that?
I don't know.
I'll figure
But
it out.
he did it, and it was incredible.
All right. I
Look at
missed
this.
it. I missed
Look at
it.
this.
Steve over here freaking out. All right.
Unbelievable.
That's what they
Get in the
call it.
hole.
Man, that's incredible.
Shout out Cole.
Major League
Cole.
Baseball logo.
Oh, I love it. Handful of guys on tour with the MLB logo.
Johnny Vegas does.
He sure does.
That's my top
fantastic.
story.
Eric Cole.
Eric Cole, wait.
All
Eric
right,
Cole
Eric.
getting a hole-in-one.
Thank you.
Back 9 card of 5-6-4-1.
Well, at least he got a hole in one.
Dial that number and see what you get. My top story, Golden State. I hope they dance the last dance, and those insufferable West Bay twerp fans and fan sites go far, far away. Back-to-back Western Conference Finals for Minnesota, and that highlights again with the Grizzlies and the Grizzlies' mismanagement by Wexler Kleiman. 2022, the Grizzlies were ahead of Minnesota, defeated them in a series. Since then, been lapped by them. Only series Ja the Magnificent's ever won was that series. Since, more teams lapping the Grizzlies. We've missed this opportunity. We missed it with the medium-sized 3.
Yeah, well, it is, again, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop thinking about Minnesota versus Memphis and kind of where those two franchises are right now.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, the schedules were released yesterday officially from the NFL. We knew a lot of it, but it was nice to see all of it in front of us. I've got to say, Brett, Cowboys got no favors this year. Plenty of primetime games. I mean, they're going to be in front of everybody. Brutal schedule, especially for a new head coach. I mean, I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. Listen to this,
The
Brett.
Cowboys play in the NFL, right?
That's right. That's right. But listen to this, Brett. I mean, from between...
I'm ready to hear, see if East Texas State's on the schedule.
Well, they're not going to be there, but it is a tough schedule, especially late in the season. Weeks 12 through 14. Week 12, it's a Sunday against the Eagles following a Monday night football game, so a short week. Then you go off of that game to a Thursday.
They're in a
against the
division,
Chiefs.
right?
They are in that division, but the Eagles are a good team, Brett. Then you go to the Chiefs on a Thursday, so another short week
That's
for
real
you
tough.
there. And then you turn around the next week, and you got to see the Lions on another Thursday.
But the days off after the Thanksgiving game before Detroit. Where do they play Detroit?
Sure. I don't know. I didn't write that down. But it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. And then listen to this.
Cowboys got robbed.
Weeks 12 through 17,
It's
the Cowboys
NFL.
play the Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings, Chargers, and Commanders. All of those teams had 11 wins last year or more. I mean, a brutal way to end the season for the Cowboys.
They're all members of the NFL.
Oh, brutal. I don't see.
They are.
I don't see the Titans on there anywhere. I don't see the Browns, the Saints.
We finished 3-14. Anything's going to be an improvement from that last year.
True.
My not top story, PGA Championship underway, and we'll look a little more closely at the leaderboard about 3:45, but we talked about it right now at the top, pretty anonymous. It screams Thursday. Long way to go until Sunday night and the Wanamaker Trophy handed out. And I mentioned Scotty Scheffler, just 2 under. He's got to like where he's sitting. Also, though, at 3 under, Matt Fitzpatrick, U.S. Open winner, good player, 3 under on a day that not many people really excelled. He's got to like his positioning, but the leaderboard and all the way down to the bottom, it screams Thursday.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Have you seen that everybody in attendance at Quail Hollow this weekend gets free food and non-alcoholic beverages, all inclusive with their ticket? So you walk up to the concession. I don't know if I guess it's just specific concessions. I don't think you can. I'm sure they have like some vendors there that are actually selling stuff. But if you just want like a bag of chips and a water, you can just walk up and grab them and get out of there.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably raised that general price.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's give me something. Don't get me coming and going.
Yeah.
Hit me hard with a big entry fee. And that used to be the movie theater kind of mantra and pricing. Pretty cheap to get in, but we're going to get you pretty good because we got a captive audience on popcorn, hot dog, pickle, soft drinks, whatever.
Yeah.
Out at sports, charge me whatever. But then when I get inside, you don't still charge me whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know everything. I've just seen people post this on Twitter. It looks like 1 drink, 1 entree, 1 kind of snack item while you're there, which is fine by me if that's what it is, and I can get a meal out of it and then go watch golf and then come back and maybe get some more. I'm completely fine with that. I love that.
Pure sinful to charge for water.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's crazy. It's insane. But hey, not only do they charge for it, they charge a good price for it. It's not just $1 or something either for a bottle of water. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. And when we return, we're talking showboats with Steve Macy.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Extraordinary events come once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family. But hurry, the best pricing of the year ends May 31st. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Wally Hatchet serves breakfast all day and Southern comfort food for lunch. Hatchet fans love our huge omelet, breakfast Sammys, scrambles, and chicken and waffles. For lunch, check out the Mississippi pot roast, chicken fried steak, grilled meatloaf, or one of our best-selling burgers, lipstick on a cow. Pickup, delivery, and catering are also available. Visit WallyHatchets.com to order online. Wally Hatchets is located at 6439 Summer Avenue and open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Wally Hatchets. Count your blessings, not your calories.
Molly Tire Auto Service is your local family-owned business for over 60 years. They are still committed to the highest quality products and service. All changes to engines, Molly Tire can get it done. They have tires for cars, trucks, SUVs, trailers, even lawn and garden tires. Don't get bogged down by ordering the wrong tires online and overpaying. Take advantage of their 6-month savings cash offer. Cordova, Collierville, Olive Branch, Arlington, and online at mollytire.com.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, and comfortable. Wall-to-wall TVs, 24 taps for all your beers, including $3 domestic and $5 craft pints on Mondays, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 happy hour. Music burned up Tuesdays, daily specials, and Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square, Highway 70. Check Facebook for
of celebration. People are getting married. People are graduating. And those people need somewhere to do their celebrating. And we offer up Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown bar. You could take your group to a chain restaurant or bar, but those places don't have a tenth of the charm of Bell Tavern. Chains are sterile and impersonal. Bell Tavern is a cool oasis for most places. Signature cocktails, ice-cold beer, and the friendliest staff in town. This is a chance for you to show off your knowledge of Memphis to impress out-of-towners by taking them to the coolest bar they've been to in a long time. Unless, of course, they put the Bell Tavern.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Midtown traffic not too bad over here on I-40 at Chelsea. Watching it pick up already on Sam Cooper going outbound as you continue all the way out past the interstate. Working your way out into Fayette County. It's moving right now. Just be careful. There's been radar on and off the last couple of hours actually on I-40 out here at the Shelby County, Fayette County line. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters. Go by and see them and shop local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Cars. Here are your hosts, Brent Stark Sports Movie and Brian Davis.
We're back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now to talk the showboat, Steve Macy joins us now. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. We knew they had you had some big things going for the last game against for the showboats. How was Mother's Day? How was Skipper's birthday for the showboat?
I had a blast.
It was fun. I mean, it really was. It turned out great. I mean, obviously we want to win, but I think the fans won with the $2 hot dogs and beers, and we had a little skit going on all game long where Skipper was upset because nobody had come for his birthday, and so Pouncer showed up, and then his mom showed up for his second birthday, and we had a really good time.
Uncle Brett showed up.
Uncle Brett was there, and eating all the food in the press box. We had to order some more. It was the first time we had to reorder. Obviously, Brett was there, so that's what happened.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Steve, it was fun, and we were talking about it yesterday. Removed from you being on, it was a subject matter yesterday. We touched on it last week with you. But I was looking at all the UFL ratings this year. They're still holding on about every game at low side 600, 650,000, high side 800 to 850. Not the million mark of last year, maybe a few years, but it is holding consistent. You have viewers. There is definitely a marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think this is the beauty of this, I think, is that we see that spring football is necessary, right? You go, okay, this is proof of concept. It's the first time it's been done, quote unquote, right, where it wasn't just an investor that said, I want to have a spring football league, and they poured a bunch of money into it, and then they ran out of money before they could really get a foothold. And I think from the ratings, we see that has a foothold, and that people are saying, okay, I like this product. I think that, locally you have your pockets. Birmingham does better on the TV ratings than we are right now, and that's just a reflection of the team records, I think. I think you look at it across the board and you say, okay, Disney, ABC, ESPN, that whole conglomerate, and then you have Fox on the other side. They're carrying all the games, and they're able to get advertisers. They're sold out. They're looking at this and saying, this makes sense for our business model of sports. And across the board, when you look at television, everything is time shifted when it's watched, except for sports and news. So those are the two areas where there's real cases for those networks to make serious revenue because people are watching those things live, and those advertisements have an impact. And you see that even as they move forward from a television standpoint, they're finding ways to insert advertising into the actual broadcast itself, either coming in and out of breaks, not just relying on those 30-second spots, because they're getting a lot more integrated in terms of the sponsorships that they're selling. Not just selling ads anymore, they're selling true sponsorships. And I think that when you see that, you go, okay, spring football's here to stay. it is not going anywhere because it's too lucrative for part of the ownership group when you're looking at TV.
And the ratings beating Live Golf 2-1, doubling them.
I think that's. I mean, as a golf fan myself, I never know when they're on. I mean, there's a lot of players that I think are really good in Live Golf, but I'm more interested in stuff like the PGA Championship this week. I'm not paying attention to Live. It's just, and I know they're not playing this week, but I think it's one of those things that, as a golf fan, I'm hoping that Live Tour has run its course and those guys come back to the tour and get it whole again. That's just Steve Macy talking on the side about what's best for that sport, because I think it's an important sport, especially for this city having the one of the playoffs here in Memphis. I think it's really important for that game of golf to get whole again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Steve, last week we talked about, the Showboats being so close in a lot of these games and 10-point loss against the Battlehawks, but it felt like, you give up 10 points early in the game, but after that, defense really settled down, and you had opportunities, just couldn't capitalize on them. I thought second half, Showboats played really well against the Battlehawks.
Yeah, it's the hardest part right now is you sit there and you look and the Showboats have outgained their opponent in 6 of the 7 games.
Wow.
So that tells you right now that it's competitive, but it's one of those things that something's just happened in every game that doesn't make sense. This time Coach talked about it afterwards, saying that he goes, "This is me. I went for it on 4th and 1, gave our defense short fields. We got behind, and we didn't come through when we needed to." And he was looking at himself, and I think that was a frustrating thing for him. I think that obviously the games are competitive, the games are fun, but yeah, it'd be nice to get a W on the board, and we get a chance tomorrow night against San Antonio.
But I applaud him for going for it. When you have one win, go for it. It might not work, but you still have to try.
No, I agree. I think he's hoping to let these guys have a couple more opportunities to feel the euphoria of winning. And I think that was his disappointment, was that I think those 2 moments were moments that would have changed the course of the game and given the Showboats a leg up and to really take control of that game. And unfortunately, neither one of them worked, and they probably should have. And I'm sure in film session they found something that was lacking, whether it was a missing assignment or a guy missed a hole. Either way, it's one of those things. It's sports and stuff happens, and it's football, and all 11 guys have to do their job on every play to make it successful.
Yeah. You mentioned tomorrow night another road game for the Showboats against the 1-6 Brahmas. This is a Brahmas team that's really struggled this year. We talk about the Showboats being close. I think a really good opportunity. What do you expect to see tomorrow night for the Showboats on the road?
I would love a blowout for the Showboats to win big, but I think we'll continue to see close games, and I think that's what we'll see out of this one. It's my counterpart in San Antonio, and we have a group chat amongst the 8 of us that run our markets, and he was saying, "Boy, it'd be nice to get a home win." And I wrote back and said, "Evan, stop your whining about winning. You were in the championship game last year."
That's right.
And he stopped. That was it. He said, "Fair enough, good point." But I think it should be a good game. I'm interested to see how the quarterback change goes. I think that Coach Turner's decided that he wants to give each of the 3 guys a real opportunity to show what they can do, and especially under the new offensive coordinator. Unfortunately, I think we've fallen in love a little bit with Wynn as the quarterback, but he's going to be the number 3 guy this week. It would only be available in a catastrophe situation where both quarterbacks got hurt, and we're going to go back to Troy Williams as the starter, and so I think that's going to be exciting to see what they can do with him with this offense. He is a run quarterback. He's a guy that can really use his legs well. And I think they want to get a chance to see what he can do with this offense, because there's a lot of opportunities for the quarterback to run. And we're really seeing defenses the last couple of weeks key on the running back and not having to protect the backside and crashing onto the strong side of the run play. And I think they're looking for an opportunity to go ahead and use Troy's legs to open up some of the offense and allow the running backs to get a little more room and hopefully open up the passing game as well.
Last road game this week, and then back-to-back to conclude the season at home. Steve, how close was Caleb Williams to being a member of the Memphis Showboats?
I don't know. That is way outside of my knowledge on how that stuff worked out.
His dad's talking.
Say again?
His dad is talking about it out in that new book.
Yeah, I think all of this stuff is fun, and you love to see your names used, right? To say this is a possibility of a place for someone to land, and I love the fact that we have this opportunity to have football in the spring, to have opportunities for guys to play pro football, and if you look up and down the roster and stats, I know you and I have talked about this, and you look and they've all had time in the NFL. Whether it's actually on an active roster or on a practice squad.
Yeah, they've been close.
We were talking about it with Wynn a couple weeks ago that he hadn't started a game in a while. It's because he's been in the NFL roster for 3 seasons. So there's reasons that guys look like they are kind of appearing out of nowhere on our UFL rosters, and it's because they've been on NFL training camps and just haven't quite found that one opportunity to get over the hump. And then I think after a while you don't get a chance to play in a game. You need that game time, and I think that's what the UFL provides.
Now, do y'all have an agreement, whether it's implied or written, with the NFL that you're not pulling a USFL and going for Jim Kelly or going for the LA Express, going for Eric Dickerson, or New Jersey going for Herschel Walker? Next spring, nobody's going to be trying to lure Arch Manning to the UFL. Do y'all have that agreement?
No, but I think the financial models are so different it would never happen. So what we do have an agreement with the NFL is if a player is selected or picked up on an NFL roster, his contract is voided in the UFL, so he's allowed to go make that move up to the NFL. And then if he is cut from that NFL team, he can come back to the UFL with no penalty. So yes, there's not an agreement, but there is in terms of we allow players to freely move to the NFL and back.
Yeah. I think it might be good for the league to have that, maybe intent of going after a big name like that.
I just don't know that the money's there right now, Stats. I think if over time it became that the revenues were driven so high that we had those types of numbers to throw at players, but right now it's not. It's a fixed cost, and it's nowhere near what an NFL player can get, and that's okay. I think what we're offering is opportunity, and the NFL gets to see a lot of different things. You get to see players, you get to see some rule changes, they get to see the technology that we're developing for the game of football, and I think what the UFL provides for football in general is really special, and we're going to have a kids clinic here in late June, early July that's going to be totally free for the community. Nice. And those are some other things that we're doing, trying to just grow the game of football.
Yeah. Steve, we mentioned tomorrow night a road game. Will we have another watch party at Ghost River tomorrow night?
We will. Everybody come out to Ghost River. It's really, really fun. We have the Showboat Touchdown beer that's delicious, and people have really fallen in love with that beer, and Ghost River is an awesome place to watch the game. They've got big screens outside, big screens inside. They usually have some live music going on intermittently during the game. The food's really good, and it's really a live festive atmosphere. The ownership group loves the Showboats and is great to us, and really happy that we've been able to partner with Ghost River on Main Street for these watch parties. Yeah, and I'm sad it's the last one. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be another fun one tomorrow, and hopefully it will be one watching a Showboat win. Steve, as always, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Guys, appreciate you very much. Be safe. Have a good weekend.
You got it. Thank you, Steve. Steve Macy with us talking Showboats, and I like the honesty, the candor of, there's not real R implied with NFL. It's just not economically viable. A lot of times in those past leagues of offers being made, it wasn't really economically viable, but those offers were still being made. So at least they're not doing that because, there's the famous story. I think it was with the San Diego ABA team, Pistol Pete Maravich, and his dad. They have him out there, and his dad was very domineering force. Press Maravich, his coach at LSU, and I think he'd coached at NC State before that, maybe after. Anyway, very ominous presence always with Pistol Pete, and they have them out to San Diego, wine and dine them, and they're close to signing with the Conquistadors. They're leaving the hotel, and they didn't go by. Back then, you had to go by the checkout desk. It was they weren't leaving any bill under your door, and they just left. They didn't even, turn in keys or anything. Just left, and the desk clerk, hey, excuse me, sir, y'all hadn't settled your tab. And Press Maravich said, what tab? So you got, 4 nights here at the whatever great hotel in San Diego, 1970 pricing. And they said, we're not paying anything. The owner's not picking that up. They go, no, you're on the hook. It said, no way we're signing with this rinky-dink league, and got out of there.
Well, hey, sometimes you need those signs before you make a decision like that.
The rest was history.
Yeah, but hey, I think
Eric Dickerson was real close to a USFL deal, and he was a good deal maker.
Yeah.
The original NIL guy at SMU with the Trans Am from Texas A&M. He was close to signing with the LA Express, whose owner, I think, owned. He owned something in hockey that got Gretzky. Anyway, I think his name was Bruce McNall, but he was close to signing with him and asked for like some signing bonus up front. He said, I need a little up front. They said, well, we don't do anything up front. And then Steve Young was with them. And he heard about some bounce checks and some bad paper. Said, no way, I'm out of here.
Yeah, well, I think it's good for the UFL to kind of realize and say we don't need to try to do any of this stuff.
Now, I just wonder, though, once they try to get more of a local foothold and a local owner, would you ever get one then? That billionaire guy out there, let me go for a big name.
Yeah, we'll figure out the finances however we can. It'd be interesting, but definitely hope the Showboats can get a win tomorrow night. Another Friday night game for them against the Brahmas of San Antonio, a team that's really struggled this year. So I think good opportunity, that game tomorrow night on Fox. So should be a fun one. But let's go ahead and get to another break. And when we return, we'll do a little bit of a leaderboard update for the PGA Championship. That's next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. Miramichi is now open on Mondays, and you'll find the lowest rate is on Thursday. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. We can't wait to serve you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef, and she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet to steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with the perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus and Davis. Here are your hosts, Red Star Sports Movie and Brian Davis.
Well, things are happening out at Quail Hollow for the PGA Championship. Ryan Gerard, he is in the lead right now, 5 under, tied for first with Cam Davis. It's an interesting group of guys at the top. Like you said earlier, a very Thursday feel, but you've got a guy like Matt Fitzpatrick that's 3 under, T7, kind of hovering around there. He's done for the day. It feels like there are guys, Scotty Scheffler, we mentioned him, 2 under, Victor Hovland, 3 under. There are some big names kind of staying around, staying in the mix, but there are also guys on the other end of that had not so great days they'd like to have back. And so, we'll see. What does that mean for the rest of the way?
All eyes on Rory McIlroy, 3 over 74. That's all fixed tomorrow with, 67 or 68. But can you go do that? And how much will you back up tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Justin Thomas out there right now, +3 through 11. Yeah. He doesn't want to get too far behind. If that fell to 5 or 6, that could be too much for tomorrow.
Yeah, and he, a really, really tough start to the day for him, and has kind of, able to maintain the rest of his round so far, like you said, through 11 holes. But you start the day par, double, bogey. Your first 3 holes. I mean, that's not the way you want to start. And had a couple more bogeys later in the front 9. Now on the back 9, birdie par to start the back 9. So maybe can make up a little bit of ground. Get back. You'd like to get back around even if you're him to feel like you're in a good spot. Because if you rest of the way, if you add a bogey or 2, if you're 4 over, 5 over after day 1, you're in a terrible spot.
Dustin Johnson 2 over through 11 holes, round completed. Jason Day 2 over. There's a lot of good players at 2 over.
Yeah.
Corey Connors finished 2 over. Sepp Straka, winner last week, 2 over. Shane Lowry 2 over.
Yeah, it's there's some big names that kind of struggled today, and you look earlier. We talked about course playing a little tough this morning, and we talked about that big 3 group that started pretty early this morning. All 3 of those guys had some struggles throughout the rounds. You look at it, 2 of those guys, what was it, 3 over and 1 over, and then you've got Scotty 2 under, but all 3 of those guys had their issues through the first round, and tomorrow has got to be a big day for these guys.
Brooks Koepka +4. We talked yesterday about the disinterest it feels like he has. A lot of the players from Live, except for Bryson DeChambeau, how hungry you are can really be questioned.
Yeah, and I think it's been talked about a lot. You look at a guy like Phil Mickelson who's 8 over for the day. And obviously different circumstances there between those 2 golfers. But I think that was the talk when Liv started is, hey, you're going over there, you're getting all of this money, you're not playing every weekend, you're not playing as many holes every weekend. What is that going to look like? And you've got really nobody watching you when you're playing this tournament. Exactly. So what does it look like when you come back? And we were talking yesterday with John Gowen, and talked about how right now Scotty Scheffler is kind of Mr. Major, and he's the guy that everyone's chasing at majors. it wasn't that long ago when Brooks Koepka was that guy. When it was
big game, Brooks.
Show up and look out when it's the majors. Those other tournaments, that's a completely different story. But when you get to those 4 events,
and then right after Koepka, it was John Rahm,
right,
who hadn't been real sharp all year.
Yeah.
He's -1 for today. But another live guy, Patrick Reed, he's around even, had a good Masters.
Sure, yeah. And so, that's the thing is you don't hear about these guys for, I was telling you, some of these tournaments that Live has where they're
you forget about them
over somewhere else and they're playing at, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, I'll flip it on if I see it's on and watch a little bit of it. And, I told you one day I came in here, I completely forgot about Cam Smith. Cam Smith hadn't been on the radar, was a huge player when he was on the tour. And, now it's just on nobody's radar.
Won the Open Championship.
Yeah, so, we forget about them and then they come out here and then it's the question of, what are you going to show here? And certainly DeChambeau has shown a lot, but those other guys, John Rahm has been good, coming back in the majors. But outside of those 2 guys, it's kind of been not a lot.
And on the Live front, can you believe we're having another major without Taylor Gooch? We're able to have a tour without Taylor Gooch.
He lights things up, though, over on Live, I hear.
He does?
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Who's he play for? Crushers?
I don't know. He got traded either last year or the year before, so I don't know.
For a player to be named later?
I don't know the terms of the trade, but I know that was a big story as he was traded, coming off a big season. They
Cardinals,
trade him.
And he ended up being really good, had a shortstop named Jose Gonzalez. They traded him to the Giants and became Jose Uribe, truly the player to be named later.
Well, hey, I guess sometimes it does work out like that. But no, day one's been fun.
Michael Block +3.
Well, he's out there. Better than Brooks right now, so better than Phil. So I guess
here's a Live player we have forgotten about, Joaquin Niemann.
Oh yeah, and Joaquin Niemann, but before he left for Live, and ever since it's when are you gonna do it at the majors? And yeah, he's a guy that he's been playing well over there on Live. I think he's got a couple wins over there this year, but just can't really get anything going when he comes back over here and plays in these major events. But we'll keep you updated on everything going on at the PGA Championship. Like I mentioned earlier, Rex Hoggard from the Golf Channel, he's going to join us at 5 o'clock to talk all things PGA Championship, everything that's happened through round 1, what we expect to see the rest of the weekend. But we got to wrap up this first hour, and when we return, we're talking NBA with Keith Smith.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 for you, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member in both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Spring is in the air, and it's the perfect time to grill, chill, and save with Totes. Install a new generator, tankless water heater, or Carrier HVAC system, and you'll get your choice of a free green egg grill or 36 months no-interest financing. Stay powered during storms, enjoy endless hot water, and slash your cooling costs this summer with the high-efficiency Carrier system, and grill some slow-smoke barbecue on us. But hurry, this special ends soon. And if you're dealing with plumbing or electrical problems, Choates is here for you too. Give us a try and take $60 off your repair. Leaky faucet, clogged drain, broken outlet, lights flickering? Call Choates and save $60 on your plumbing or electrical repair service. Call 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com today. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
If you love
sports and Mexican food. You can get the best of both at Los Cabos Mexican Bar and Grill on Summer near Graham. Watch all the big games on all the TVs on all the walls in Los Cabos. And enjoy premium tequila shots anytime for just $5.50. Celebrate every day with lunch specials from 10 to 3 and happy hour from 3 to 8. Lunch is just $6.75 to $10.99 and margaritas start at $4.99. Experience real Mexican cuisine along with great sports at Los Cabos on Summer near Graham. Listen up, sports fans. Your next winning drive is at Landers Ford in Collierville. That's right. The iconic Landers Easy Pass always delivers more on the trade and their biggest discounts on your next winning drive. See it all now at LandersFordPress.com. Landers Ford, you get the support of a certified service tech who comes right to your driveway with the Landers Ford Service Experience Program. And pick it up or fix it on the spot. Landers Ford in Collierville recommends a plan to find you the most savings possible. You can make a trade and possibly lower your payments. And you can buy your current vehicle even if you don't buy from them. It's a tradition that pays all across the mid-south line. New Fords and quality pre-owned models are arriving every day. Either route, go see them today in Collierville or online at LandersFordMemphis.com. And now from the 1977 Ole Miss football team that beat number 1 ranked Notre Dame, ladies and gentlemen, the final play of the game comes from president of Landers Ford in Collierville, Tom Kitchens. If it doesn't say Landers, it paid too much. Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church downtown Memphis.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD working with a couple of wrecks. It's trying to build 240 East over here at Poplar as it gets heavier now on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out to Germantown Parkway as that traffic builds early out towards Fayette County here in the last few minutes. I-40 looks good at the moment. Westbound here at Danny Thomas across the I-40 bridge. Weimer's Jewelry wants you to know they are your diamond engagement ring headquarters. Go by and see David and his family at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show, and on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith Smith joins us now to talk the NBA from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. Keith, thanks so much for joining us. The Boston Celtics, they stayed alive last night, a 127-102 win over the Knicks. It'll now go back to New York with the Knicks leading 3-2. Obviously, we got to talk about the Jason Tatum injury, but what did you see from the Jason Tatum-less Celtics last night to extend this series?
Yeah, a lot of fight last night, which is what you want to see, right? You don't want to see a team just roll over because, things are tough. In front of the home fans, they went out there and they really, gave it a real run. And I thought, it was impressive. I think this team for the last couple of years has talked about, hey, we're bigger than any one guy on this roster. And not that they don't miss Jason Tatum and love Jason Tatum, but I think those guys wanted to show, hey, we can do this. We can win this game. The crowd was rocking. And as I put it earlier today, if nothing else, they got one more day in the sun with this group. It was a lot of fun last night for Celtics fans, people in the building, people watching at home, and then you just kind of go from there.
Tomorrow night, what would be an early sign of the Celtics are staying in this? What do they have to do early not to take that knockout punch at the home of a place that's hosted a lot of great boxing?
Yeah, same kind of thing as last night. Just maintain, right? Come out, hit shots, play some defense, and just be in the game. It'd be very easy for the Knicks to get rolling. And anytime you're in an elimination scenario, your goal as the team that can close out is get them down early and get them thinking about summer vacation. That's what you want to do. So if you're the Celtics, if you're in the game early, try to hang in there as long as you can. And at some point, you think about it, they've won 2 blowouts and lost 3 close games. There's a real world where I think a lot of the players on the Celtics are thinking this series should already be over, but in our direction. Like we should have already won this series, and they're gonna take that mindset into Game 6.
Isn't it something, the evolution of the surgical procedure and the rehab for Achilles? It used to be the career ender. I mean, it was get your money right if you don't already have it right, because this is over. I mean, it may take a year, but Jason Tatum will play again and thrive again.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? Now, no one other than Kevin Durant has come back exactly the same player. And the guys who have had the most success have been guys that have been a little more ground-bound. Like Elton Brand came back from a torn Achilles, and you didn't really notice a whole lot. Elton Brand was never a guy who was jumping very high or running very fast. Jason Tatum, one of the things that makes him somewhat special is his ability to put the ball on the floor and go by guys that are bigger than him because he generally gets drawn by a bigger defender. If that's sapped at all, it's gonna, he's gonna have to rework. But he's young. As you said, they have improved these surgeries. They've improved the way guys recover. I think we'll see him get back to some level of what he looks like, and hopefully that is, that starts to mark guys like Durant and Tatum and even Brandon Clark there, right? Is return more or less to form. And I think you start to think, all right, maybe these guys can get back. And it's definitely no longer a career ender, but it's not even a major career changer. Maybe we've kind of turned the corner, much like we have with ACL surgeries and other things.
Well, when you look, we were already talking with you, last week or the week before about how what this offseason would look like for the Celtics before the Jason Tatum injury. Financially, there were going to be some changes made to this roster. With this injury, what does that mean for the offseason? Does Jason Tatum being out change anything going into the offseason that would be different if he was still out there?
Yeah, as I've been saying for a little while now, it's been with Jason Tatum. It's kind of the with the Celtics rather, not Jason Tatum. With the Celtics, the thought process was if you're in the finals and you win the title or it's a competitive finals, you probably mostly run it back and you make some moves around the edges because you can't break up a title team like that. The fan base would never stand for it. Now, and I hate to use the term cover, but you have a little bit of cover for making the moves you want to make. Now, of course, if they pull off an unbelievable run here and somehow, with this group without Tatum, may make a finals run, then, you're probably looking at it and saying, man, we got to kind of run it back still. But that's not very likely. So I think now you have a little bit more impetus to, all right, we're going to take a step back anyway next season. Not that they're going to go in the tank or anything like that, but let's start getting things a little bit in order here. Let's move a few guys, and let's see where we go moving forward. So that's going to be guys like Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, maybe a guy like Sam Hauser. We'll see where that goes. I don't think it'll be Jaylen Brown, but you never know. There's a world where, if they get the right offer, maybe they say, all right, it's time to move that direction too. I don't think that's the way that one will go, though.
Keith, that's really, really great analysis about the Celtics that you know so well, and I fully, and I think most listening would understand your meaning of cover. With that cover and with the strategic petroleum reserve of goodwill for Brad Stevens, this could help them do something that otherwise would not be met with a lot of popularity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think fans are like, all right, you're not breaking up a title team next year. I think most people are, assuming, all right, you're going to take a step back. Now, it's important to recognize the Celtics still play in the East. So without Jason Tatum, they're probably dropping down in the 4, 5, 6 range in that type of area versus being in the, maybe the top two or three. But, for them to fully tank, which, was suggested by some, they'd have to really bottom out the roster and really tear it down to nothing. And that's just not going to be a thing they do. Plus, that's a lot easier said than done. So I think what now you're going to have happen is let's get some of the resetting. Let's give bigger roles to guys like Peyton Pritchard and Baylor Shireman and whoever they draft in the first round this year. Get those guys more experience on the fly. And then when Jason Tatum comes back, we can start the process of, all right, let's, get Jason Tatum back. Let's add to the team. And we kind of go forward with that. I think this is going to be a little bit of a gap year. I look at it, they have the possibility to do like what the Golden State Warriors and LA Clippers did, this summer, which was, all right, we have to lessen our bill. We're going to get out of the tax. We're going to do those things. They may not get all the way out from under the apron, but it'll be the start of the process. So then you can start resetting the roster in a new way around Jason Tatum and whoever else you add over the next year or two.
All right, we have a lot of Western bias here. We fully recognize that. I asked Brian earlier, of the two back-to-back conference finalists, Indiana from the East, Minnesota from the West, which one are you most surprised that they were able to go to one, much less back-to-back years?
Minnesota, only because the West is just so much harder to advance in, and they just had a harder path to get there. Indiana, they were, by the time we hit the playoffs, I think most people were feeling pretty good about the Pacers and what they could do. And then when Damian Lillard went down, it was very clear they were going to get by the Bucks with very little issue. And the Cavs just weren't a good matchup for the Pacers and had their own injury issues. So that one's not as big a surprise. But Minnesota getting through the Lakers the way they did, getting through the Warriors, the run that they made last season, including beating Denver, in Denver, that's just really a major surprise that they're where they are. But two teams that are, at the start of the year was a little like, what's going on with these guys? Are they going to get it together? They're just kind of muddling along, and then went on big second-half runs and are playing pretty good basketball right now.
If the Minnesota front office, really honest, really candid, do you think they're surprised they're back-to-back years?
I don't think so. I think they had a level of expectation when they made the trade of Karl Anthony Towns to get Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo of, hey, we're going to look different, but Julius Randle's a good player, and we added a guy in DiVincenzo who's what we needed a season ago. And I think they felt pretty confident in what they could be, because then you add in Anthony Edwards is taking another step forward as a player. Rudy Gobert's still getting it done, and then you got guys like Jalen McDaniels playing pretty well there, or Jaden McDaniels, sorry, playing pretty well, and then you've got Mike Conley still getting it done. At this point in his career, it's a good team that has really good functional depth. Their top 8 guys, they know exactly who they are and what they want from them, and they get it done. So I think they had some pretty high expectations for what they could be this season.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Cleveland a second ago. A lot of people talking about them after losing to the Pacers. Obviously, injuries played a role in that series, but you had one game where Cleveland's up 7 with about 40 seconds left. They lose that game. The closeout game, they were up double digits late in the third quarter and kind of fell flat in the fourth quarter. What do you expect to happen this offseason? Some people saying it's time to make changes after now 2 seasons where, you're one of the best teams in the East and can't get past the second round. What does this offseason look like for Cleveland?
Yeah, it's so funny. We just have no patience anymore in basketball where it's, we had 2 years of it. It's obviously broken and it's got to be, trashed. And it's like, that's not, necessarily the way it thinks. I'm big on reminding people windows are not open for 10 years, like some people think. They're shorter than what you think. But, the Cavs have accomplished quite a bit in a couple-year window here. So now I think what you're looking at is a couple things. One is, all right, you're probably going to listen on Jared Allen, at least. You're not moving Mitchell. You're not moving Mobley. Darius Garland's going to take a pretty good offer to get him. But, Allen, that one's maybe, all right, let's see what we can do. Can we reset a little bit, maybe move Mobley to the 5 and get in another 4 and, be a little bit more versatile with the way we play and defend and the way we run our offense. That's probably what you're going to look at. But there's also a world where the Cavs are going to look around and say, all right, I know we lost, but we had some injuries. If we're healthy, we're probably in a better place against the Pacers. We're not that far off them and the Knicks, even though, we lost earlier in the playoffs, but we finished way ahead of both teams in the regular season. And the Celtics are going to drop. The Bucks aren't really going to be around next year probably. So they got to be looking around saying, why would we make a lot of changes? Maybe we just run it back, and we feel pretty good about that.
Keith, you talk about injury in Cleveland, injury and Golden State. Steve Kerr late last night saying that he felt like they could have won it all if Steph doesn't get hurt. Do you share that?
No. I mean, that's fine that he can say that, and I think they certainly would have given Minnesota more of a run, but I don't know. They lost in 5 games. Felt like they were somewhat lucky to get through the Rockets series in the first round. I think, Draymond Green, when they traded for Jimmy Butler, had a lot to say about how they were going to win the title and all these things. And I think, between Steph and Draymond and Butler and Curry, you've got a bunch of guys who have all been there, done that. They have supreme confidence in themselves. That roster is extremely flawed. They don't have any real size of note. They've really struggled to defend and rebound at times in the series against the Wolves, even in the series against the Rockets. It's crazy that we're at this point where Steph means so much. And I will say this with Jimmy Butler. As much as I respect everything that he has been, you cannot be in this position and be, midway through the second half and you've taken like 8 or 9 shots. It wasn't because the Wolves were dialing their defense so much on him that he couldn't get shots off and he was facing double and triple teams. He just has these moments, and he has for years now, where he just doesn't he's not playing poorly, he's not playing passively, he's just not, super engaged in looking for his own shot. And it's just a weird thing that we've seen with him with the Heat and now with the Warriors rather, and that's something that they're going to have to figure out, because I think next year we're going to see them really try to manage Steph as much as they can through the regular season, and that's going to be something they're going to need more out of Jimmy Butler to be able to do.
And sometimes he does that, and the deference is in the name of playing the right way. I'm fine about that, and here in Memphis, a lot of times we would get that from Mark Gasol. No, you're being paid a lot of money to take that shot. To heck with playing the right way. Quit passing.
Yeah, this is something, right? If we go all the way back to LeBron, with the Heat, there was a whole bunch of people like, LeBron can't pass there, right? He has to take the shot because he's LeBron, but it's like he set up a wide open, corner three, and the guy just missed. I never going to fault the guy for making the right basketball play, but I think with Jimmy Butler, there's times where, sure, he certainly does that, but there's times when it's like, yeah, you could probably put your head down here and get to the rim versus just you catch it and you kind of hot potato it away to the next guy. There's just times when it's like I don't understand, where he's been. Like I said, I mean, as they battled the Celtics a lot in the playoffs in recent years, you saw a lot of that in those games, or it's just like, what is happening here? Why are you not more engaged in looking for your own shot?
Mm-hmm. Talking to Keith Smith. He joins us every week from Spot Track and the Front Office Show to talk the NBA. Monday night, one of the funniest things maybe ever in the history of NBA draft lottery happened. The Dallas Mavericks, after making the most talked about trade earlier this season, they have a 1.8% chance of winning the draft lottery, and they go on to win it. We all believed Nico. We knew the vision, and we knew this was going to happen long before the draft lottery. What do you make of the Dallas Mavericks winning the draft lottery? And here in Memphis, a lot of people talking about not only did Dallas win the draft lottery and get the number 1 pick, but the San Antonio Spurs get number 2. So the Grizzlies going to see a lot of 2 of those top picks from Dallas and San Antonio.
Yeah, so a couple thoughts there. One, I don't know how funny the Utah Jazz and Washington Wizards thought it was, right? Yeah. Like they're sitting here saying, "Man, we dropped 5 spots, when we had these, brutal seasons." And then I'll say this with the Nico Harrison stuff, and I know you were being facetious and joking around, but I did see some people say, "Hey, we got to give him credit. He was right." No, he wasn't. At no point, I don't care if Cooper Flagg goes on to have a 20-year NBA career and they win 10 championships. He wasn't right. You just got lucky. That doesn't excuse the process during the Luka Doncic trade and the fact that you didn't get enough for Luka Doncic. All that said, the West got 2 more West teams got stronger. If you're Utah or New Orleans or even Portland, you got to be looking and saying, like, what, like, how?
Who can we beat?
How are we going to step forward, in the conference? And that starts to. We talked about, Jason Tatum's injury changes things, not just for the Celtics, but the other teams in the East. Well, Dallas, who's already a good team, and San Antonio, who's already on their way to being a good team, now have 2 more good players coming in. Or Dallas has already said they'll keep the pick, but San Antonio, maybe they use it to trade for, more talent. They're in a spot where all of a sudden we're looking at it, it's like, man, like, how, if you're Portland, like, how are we going to make this up? How are we going to get there? If you Utah, like, I don't know that they can sell another season of tanking to their fans, because their fans are already livid. They are beyond, angry about the fact that, they've thrown away 3 straight seasons. So now I think we're really in a spot where it becomes, all right, how do you get there? And that's what's going to be really, really interesting to see. And yeah, and it's funny because I've seen some people say, well, we shouldn't lock in that it's Cooper Flagg. Well, the Mavericks said it was Cooper Flagg, and I've probably been saying it for, 3 months now. Cooper Flagg's the number 1 pick in this draft. I don't care if Cooper Flagg decides, what, I'm going to play professional, mini golf the rest of my life. They're still going to pick him and hope they can convince him otherwise. Like, that's just how good he is compared to the rest of this class.
Keith, you really love the sport. You're really bright about it. What would you do to lottery night?
What do you mean? Like how would I change
big
it?
Systemic changes, anything on the margins? What?
I'd probably keep it more or less like it is, just because I think the rush to this isn't working, this is broken, is a little much. I think the one change I would make to just straight draft pick reform, I would get rid of pick protection on things. I think that causes more issues with teams trying to tank than anything else does, where you have, like, for example, the Philadelphia 76ers threw away basically the entire second half of their season because it was, we need to do everything we can to put ourselves in position to keep our pick, which they did, so mission accomplished. But I think that would eliminate, you're never, no matter what you do, whether you said it's the top pick that's decided, or it's the bottom pick, or you just go to straight worst record, you're always going to have teams that are trying to lose games to put themselves in position. And I don't know that you want to change it too much, because anything you do to start making it more advantageous to lose more, the more you're going to make it that teams pull the plug, and the earlier they do so.
Have you ever been part of the media cadre that is there to observe 14 independent free thinkers? Nobody's got the fix in. Have you ever been part of that group?
I've not been in the room, but I've watched the last several years. A lot of people like to scream that it's all rigged. It's on. The NBA provides it every single year on their YouTube channel. It's there if you want to watch it. The reason why they don't televise the actual drawing is it's extremely boring. And there's no drama because you pick the first pick first. So it's, you pick the first pick, and then then it's like a lot of people are like, all right, we didn't get the first pick, we're out. And they would tune out on watching. So that's why they do the reveal the way they do with that. I'll also say there's been several years, Zach Lowe wrote about this. I think it might have been in the draft where Zion Williamson and John Morant went at the top of the draft. I think the Pelicans actually won the first 3 drawings that year. They won the first one where they actually got the pick. Then I think they won the next 2, which obviously that can't happen. So you throw it out and you start all over. But I think that's the way that went. So it's just, there's too many people. And all I'll say on it being rigged, as a member of the media, if I was in that room and got any sense, that'd be the biggest story of your career, and it would make your career for the rest of your life. That's so right. It's not rigged, and you got Ernst & Young as partners involved in there that they're not going to allow that. There's, and again, why would 29 teams agree to it being rigged when, if it's not being rigged for themselves every once in a while?
So far, the conspiracy theorists, we're talking, when you say 29 teams, 14 members of the media, I mean, we're talking hundreds of people that if one tells the story, it brings down $1 billion enterprise.
That's it, yeah. And what would happen is now that the NBA is linked in with the gaming companies and everything else, you'd have a whole other set of issues. If it came out that it was rigged, at that point I'd be covering, I don't know what they'd call it, but it'd be the WWE version of basketball. And it would just be shut down completely because you'd never be able to trust in anything again. And I know people like, hey, they had referees that were gambling on games. Well, they had one who most people do believe was a rogue official, and some of the things he's pointed out have been completely disproven because he doesn't have his facts right. Because he has, quite frankly, he has no reason to ever have his facts right on these things because he's just trying to clear his own name and whatever it was by saying, hey, I wasn't the only guy doing it.
Yeah. Help us, help our audience, and help me. I was trying to tell yesterday exactly how Red Auerbach pulled off Larry Bird. It was from the year before in a protected pick, wasn't it?
Yeah, so what used to happen in the NBA, you didn't you could draft a player and then you would hold their draft rights for an entire year. and then they would go back. There was no early entry process for players. And Bird, because he had transferred, was an older prospect. So the Celtics actually drafted him a year early, held his rights the entire time, and then brought him in after. So that's how they were able to get him.
So they had no first-round pick the year they held on to him?
I don't know that they didn't have a first. I'd have to go back and look exactly at that, but that was they got him. Then it was shortly after that he worked the trade to get Robert Parrish and the draft rights to Kevin McHale for Joe Barry Carroll, or as they like to call him back then, Joe Barely Cares.
Yeah.
In that. So yeah, they were definitely he was a pretty good master manipulator of the draft process back in the day.
So it was Red Auerbach prowess, not skullduggery.
No, yeah, it was like, I think him, knowing the rules maybe better than some and getting there. I've talked to people who were involved in those drafts in the 80s and the 90s, and the things that would happen, and even, a lot later than I think people realized, they would get a conference call together where it was, here are the players who were actually available to be picked in the draft, and they would fax or mail a list out to the teams, and then they would go through these conference calls in advance of the draft and cross guys out. And unfortunately, sometimes it was, this player's not playing basketball because due to injury. Or, unfortunately, at times it was, this player has passed away and is not going to be there. Cross them off your list because it wasn't the 24-hour news cycle, immediate updates, all the things you get. Like now we're already getting, a couple players have already withdrawn from the draft process at the combine, and we got that news almost immediately upon it happening. So those are the things that just how much this process has entirely changed.
Yeah, it's night and day, that's for sure. Keith, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll do it again next week.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Keith.
Keith Smith with us talking NBA every week on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. And like I talked about yesterday, there have been peculiarities, oddities, good fortune through the years. I just don't think any fix is in.
Certainly not. It is. It gets people talking, though. It's funny to look at and
people
funny
let
to
their
talk
imagination run away with them. I'm not going to give it's away from sports. I'm not going to get into the topic, but something I knew of something categorically to be wrong. But so many people had to think it was tied to something, and I just knew from the genesis of it, it's just no way.
Right, yeah, but like you said, people, their imaginations run wild, and it's we talked about this on Monday or Tuesday. It's a lot more fun to talk about rig, talk about conspiracy theory, talk about all that, than just saying Dallas won the lottery and they're going to draft Cooper Flag.
Move along.
I mean, it's there's no fun in that.
It's not. There's fun at All-Star Chevrolet. We're 2026 already underway. You can get that 2026 vehicle you want to drive, like that all-new 26 Equinox at All-Star Chevrolet first exit into Mississippi on Highway 78 at Kraft Goodman Road. It's the home of the Silverados. Nobody with more new Silverados than All-Star in Olive Branch, where all the Chevys are. May is your month to finance your new Silverado as low as 0.9. That's less than 1%. 0.9. Your good credit deserves it, and you get it at All-Star. If you're law enforcement, educator, military, healthcare worker, first responder, and this wave of recent grads, you get an instant extra $500 bonus back. All-Star with every pre-owned truck and SUV you can imagine. If you don't see it on the lot at All-Star, ask Jeff, ask Drew DePriest, any member of that great team, and they will find it, and they'll find it fast. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money back for it, whether you bought it there or not. Wherever this summer takes you, Drew DePriest and everyone at All-Star in Olive Branch wish you and your family happy and safe travels. Start those travels at All-Star. Together, let's drive something from All-Star Chevrolet this summer. For more information, go to allstarautogroup.com.
Let's get to another break. When we return, we're going to stay on the NBA topic, talk about the playoffs, talk about the two games from last night and the game tonight, 7:30 on ESPN. Thunder at Nuggets. Jamal Murray, he's listed as questionable now due to illness. That news coming out within the last hour. So we'll talk all things NFL playoffs next on Sports Time.
More invites you to the retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Also stores in Cleveland, Mississippi and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly. So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 914-611-01. That's 914-611-01. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 914-611-01. That's 914-611-01. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 914-611-01. Bill at I Buy Houses. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. MPD on the scene of a couple of accidents, trying to build even more with volume out of Midtown. Right on schedule, actually, on 240 South here at South Parkway down to Norris. 240 getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. Busy, but moving out towards Collierville. It's trying to crank up already, going outbound on sections of Sam Cooper. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Go see David and his family at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. Got to talk the NBA playoffs. 2 games last night. Only 1 game tonight, but it did start last night.
Only 1 tomorrow night. None Saturday.
Well, that's crazy. That's hard to believe. It's going to be weird having a day with no NBA playoff action. It feels like we've been in the playoffs forever.
Getting down to 4 teams.
Yeah, and I'm liking these start times. I mean, tonight we talked about 7:30. In Denver, a 7:30 start.
7:44, but
still
close enough.
Not 9 o'clock.
It says 7:30 though, doesn't it?
Then and that's all I care about. That it's not 9. So yeah, 7:30, much better tonight.
Pressure on.
In the game tonight? Oh, absolutely, Denver. I mean, they
lose and stay home.
Yeah, I mean, you got to win. I mean, it's like what we were talking about yesterday. A completely different sport. Nobody wants to listen to us talk about hockey, but we talked yesterday about in Toronto.
I think they do.
You got to win that game, Brett.
I don't even want to talk about it.
And they just got. I mean, they got laughed off the ice
Landon.
last night. I mean, it was.
They're doing it again to me.
It was really.
I told y'all how hard it was to be a leave.
Yeah, well, it's a hard life to live, but we were talking about that game yesterday. Of if you don't win this game tonight at home, well, then going back, to Florida, it's going to be a mess.
People throwing sweaters, jerseys on the floor last night. Done.
It was not fun. Well, yeah, okay, done for now. Toronto, how hockey crazy they are. But tonight in Denver, if you have any chance, and look, I think if the Nuggets win tonight and they tie this thing up 3-3, who knows what happens in Game 7? Even in OKC, who knows what happens?
We know what should happen, but what will happen, this set of playoffs has been proof you don't know.
That, and, I mean, this is a Denver team that's been there, done that.
You don't know when
that great player.
You don't know when that injury is going to happen.
That's the other
Look
thing.
at Steph. Look at Tatum.
Look at Cleveland. Their entire team, had the injury bug in that series. So yeah, you really never know what to expect. So tonight at home, this has got to be a spot where Denver is able to capitalize on it early. We've seen them get leads and then ultimately give them. Last game in Oklahoma City, they get a lead. They are controlling the game most of the night, and then in that third quarter, OKC goes on the run that leads to a big fourth quarter and a really bad fourth quarter for Denver. And so, I think you feel good if you're Denver tonight, being back at home, but you got to capitalize.
Got to capitalize tonight and then win it in Oklahoma City. And if they did all that, if Denver advanced to the Western Conference Finals, that would be a 4 versus a 6.
Yeah,
4 seed Denver against 6 Minnesota. That should enrage Grizzlies fans.
Yeah, it.
And the lost opportunity this year, the poor management of this team.
Yeah, it'd be two teams that were right there, in the same neighborhood as you at the end of the season. A team that, just like you, fired their head coach at the end of the season with only a few games left in the regular season. And so, yeah, it doesn't make you feel good. And, kind of seeing that we came in thinking maybe both sides not as wide open as you would think with obviously 1 and 2 in the East. We figured 1 Oklahoma City would be pretty good, and maybe not Houston, but one of those veteran teams that had a lot of pieces, like maybe the Lakers or the Clippers. But Denver with an interim head coach in Minnesota. I think you feel a certain way if you're a Grizzly fan.
Oklahoma City, they have to be thinking it is now. I don't think now or never, but better take care of now.
Yeah, I don't know what the odds are, but I know OKC is the favorite to win the finals, and I think it would be
to play a 6, then to potentially get in the NBA Finals a 4 or 3. Now going to New York would have a lot of aplomb to it. But the idea of having a win an NBA title going through Indiana,
I think.
Come on,
yeah, you got to feel really good if you're OKC. Let's see, team futures. OKC minus 125 to win the NBA Finals. So at this point, with those odds, it would be a surprise for anybody else to win the Finals at this point. The next closest is Minnesota at plus 550 to win the Finals. So, OKC in a good spot. You'd like to wrap things up tonight. If it goes Game 7, that's just more rest for Minnesota to get ready for that conference finals. But no, I like where OKC is at right now. They're playing well, and they've shown that they can win it in a lot of different ways. They've shown they can blow you out. They've shown that they can just kind of pace the entire game. They've shown that they can be down and come back and win in the fourth quarter. So I think you're seeing a lot of good things from OKC right now.
I don't even know what they're expecting for tomorrow night, but NBA Finals TV ratings usually are in anywhere from 9 to 13 million, close enough. I may not be exactly right on right there, but close enough. You could push that tomorrow night with one game, just regular season of baseball, the hockey playoffs, the PGA will be over with at that time. That they could push it for sure double digit, 10 million.
Yeah, no, they could. With that those two teams playing, that market, and that the stars are going to be in the house. So I've seen people that aren't even basketball fans watching it just to try to see who's on the sidelines, who's in attendance. So yeah, it should be.
I've seen that criticized that they ran it too early, kind of the galaxy of stars there.
Really,
I have no problem when they showed them kind of seat to seat. Star here, star there.
That was great. They do a great job with it.
I thought so too.
And all those former players that come out. It was awesome. And see how engaged. They're not just sitting there hanging out. They are locked in, rooting the entire time for their Knicks. It's fantastic.
But famously, no Charles Oakley. He's still barred from the Garden.
That's right. Yeah, he is. So yeah, all former players except for him. No him in there, but that's okay.
Free Oak, come on.
Yeah. But hey, even without him, stars everywhere in New York City. So yeah, that should be fun. And now I think with Boston and the way they won last night, a real team effort. We talked about it earlier. You get your star players playing well. Jaylen Brown, 26 points. Derek White, 34 points. points. Drew Holiday, 14 points. But then, Al Horford with 12. But then you look at some of those guys that came off the bench. Luke Cornett with 10 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 blocks. I mean, just crazy. Peyton Pritchard with 17. The way that they won, I think, gives people that, what if they could come back? What if they do this? What if they can go on the road and beat the Knicks? And so I think, that will bring in a lot of viewers tomorrow to see, what does Boston look like in Game 6 on the road.
I've seen Latrell Sprewell a couple of times in the crowd. Now, it wasn't with the Knicks, and I had to look up to remember, but he was famous for choking P.J. Carlesimo, his head coach, in Golden State, and then leaving and coming back with a 2x4.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, hey.
But where do you keep the spare 2x4?
I don't know. Is someone bringing that to you? Or are you finding just like one on the side of the building?
And PJ's often around in with national radio teams.
Yeah.
I wonder how they get along.
That's a great question. I have no clue.
Man choked me and threatened me with a 2x4. It takes some time to get over.
Yeah, I don't know how easy I'd get over that, but hopefully they get along just fine seeing each other.
AI Overview says significant suspension for Sprewell.
Yeah, no kidding. I think that would get a massive suspension for sure. But no, I'm excited for tomorrow night. That should be a really fun game. I think, let's see, what is the line on that game for tomorrow night? In New York, Knicks a 2.5-point favorite. So Vegas thinks it's going to be a close one.
I don't think I would forgive. I didn't remember this part of the story reading further, but I also like this. AI responses may include mistakes.
Of course.
Well, come on, I need facts.
Mistakes.
Come on, AI.
With Google's AI. Don't trust it.
Sprewell kept his hands tightly on Carlesimo's throat for 10 to 15 seconds.
All right. That's for real. That's not just, hey.
10 or 15 more, you've got.
Yeah, no, that's not, I'm just going to threaten you. That's some serious charges there.
Yeah, it'd be hard to get over that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd forgive that one, but there's a lot of things I could forgive. I don't know if that one's the case. Minnesota, let's just say OKC gets through, whether it's tonight, whether it's Game 7. Minnesota against OKC. What's the feeling there?
Since I've been wrong on Oklahoma City most of the playoffs, I think easy.
Yeah, I mean
4-1, 4-2.
I think it probably could be that, and I think Minnesota's.
I don't know that Minnesota's that good.
And that's the thing, right? Is I don't think anybody had any expectations for whether we should or whether we shouldn't have. I don't think many people had expectations.
They did get through the Lakers, though. But how good were the Lakers?
There seems
catch
like
Golden State
they get through Golden State
injury.
Yeah, without Steph, they've been able to get through there, and so like you said,
I mean, in this series they just won.
Yeah,
their coach had to get on their star player.
That's right. And so this is a team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year. Have been there. Keith Smith made the good point about going out there, making some trades that I think got them better by adding Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo. And so, I mean, I hope it's a good series. But, the way OKC's been playing, I wouldn't be surprised by anything.
Our text and talk and guest line all brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin, the official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies, really the official jeweler of the hometown teams, huge supporters of both, part of the fabric of the community, will be with us at SCC Media Days, will be with us at the FedEx St. Jude Championship, and will be with us all fall every Monday. And we look back at the SCC every Monday at 4:30. That's what they do for us. That's what they do around town. The Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands, necklaces, earrings, and they're here to stay with 9,000 square feet in Larwood at Poplar and Perkins, with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more since 1970, with all the great locations across the Mid-South. Sissy's, they offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts. Official jeweler for the Memphis Grizzlies, and at FedEx Forum with the Floor Seat Lounge. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, we need to get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the
Rendezvous. I'm with John Vargas. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or in our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef. And she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meat. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper is more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it. A beloved family affair is still going strong since 1948. Rendezvous.
Emporia Orange Days delivers the savings you need for the life you love. Shop a wide selection of equipment at your local dealer, including America's #1 selling compact tractor. And get your perfect match delivered to your door. Designed for comfort and built for performance. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. Sales ending soon. See the details at EmporiaOrangeDays.com.
When you partner with CDW, your people get more out of technology. CDW AI architects deliver Microsoft services to automate tasks and boost productivity, helping sales reps connect with more customers, remote teams collaborate seamlessly, and small businesses compete at scale. That's amazing. Make amazing. Microsoft and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/modernwork.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Winton Road.
Uncorn flavor, Corky's barbecue. Cooking it up, down home way. Hickory smoke flavor like a good old day.
Hey y'all, Jimmy Stone here with Corky's Barbecue. Catering is our specialty. Indians and trusted Corky's to cater their events for 40 years. Because we make it easy to eat and delicious for your guests. Whether it's 50 people or 20,000, our experienced team comes to your location, sets up, serves, and ensures everyone enjoys a Corky's all-you-can-eat barbecue buffet starting at only $7.99 per person. You can't beat it. With 40 years of experience, it's easy to see why customers choose Corky's time and time again for all of their catering needs. Visit Corky'sBBQ.com to place for your next order.
Uncorn flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Sportstime on Sports 56 and 95 FM. Once again, Brett Rosary and Ryan Davis.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Brett, my big number today is the number 1. Last night, I know you were paying attention to the scheduling released by the NFL. I was not. I knew I would be getting the tweets and stories like this that really just made me sad the rest of the night, and it became my big number when I saw it. Again, my big number is number 1. Dallas's 2025 squad is the first in NFL history to have 4 consecutive games against teams with 14 or more wins the year prior. That comes, like I was talking earlier, between week 12 and 15. And the first in NFL history with 6 consecutive games against teams with 11 or more wins the year prior. That also includes that same 12 to 15, but extends to week 17. That comes from CBS Sports Research. So a really tough schedule into the year for the Cowboys.
What media relations team won the schedule release night? Did the Titans have their fun out on Broadway?
No,
with
I don't think they
people
did
not
that
knowing
again.
their teams?
Landon would know more about that. I've heard a lot of people like the Colts this year. Or no, not the Colts. Colts got in trouble for theirs.
Yeah, they took theirs down. The
The
Chargers
had
had the
a good
funniest video release of all time.
Yeah.
Titans was right up there. They did it was Schedule Rizzy or whatever. They did it like an infomercial, like if you want to take a pill to help with joint pain or whatever.
Yeah.
And then as they were describing each team they were playing, they took shots at them. I think they called the Texans pretenders or something like that.
I wonder why the Titans got away from asking people the team nicknames.
Well, the video lives on. All the sports
today.
pages are still posting them. 2023. I guess they're going to take to the streets. I mean, they got time.
They sure do.
Some point this week, they might do it again.
They might.
My big number is 8. Xander Schauffele trying to go back-to-back, not off to a good start, 1 over 72 today. He's trying to be the 8th player in PGA Championship history to go back-to-back. Tiger, of course, he did it twice. He did it in 99 and 2000, and then did it again in 06 and 07. Brooks Koepka did it in 2018, did it at Bellerive in St. Louis in 18, did it again in 19. Jim Barnes did it in the first 2 PGA Championships, but it was not in back-to-back years. Something called World War I interrupted having PGA Championships. Man, what would that do to your swing? World War I.
Yeah. You see stories like that out there where this athlete had to stop because he went to the war.
We don't realize how good we have it.
That's crazy. It's insane.
I mean, man's career interrupted the whole tour by World War I, but he did it in back-to-back tournaments. So I guess it counts. Gene Sarazen, he did it. Walter Hagen did it. Leo Deagle did it. And Denny Shute. Xander Schauffele going for trying to be the 8th to do it.
Xander?
He got some ways to go.
A little golf clap for Xander.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird day.
Even par through 9.
Elvis out on the
Elvis
course.
Smiley.
Wow. All right. I just found a new golfer I like.
Not Smiley Kaufman.
No.
Not Elvis Presley.
Elvis Smiley. I love it. That's a great name. Oh, there's Bryson. 1 over for the day. Well, I'll tell you, we were talking about the video releases for the NFL. The Colts had to take theirs down because they made a joke about Tyreek Hill, and his arrest earlier this season.
Wouldn't go there.
And so they had to quickly take that down. But yeah, I didn't watch many this year. I didn't keep an eye on them.
I would only recommend the Chargers.
The Chargers had a lot of shots in there. It was Minecraft theme.
Do you run your Twitter machine? Do you run it for you or following?
I do for you.
You do?
I do. Yeah.
What should I do?
You should probably do following.
That's all I do.
Yeah, I was about to say following probably fits you.
For you gets wild.
For you is just a little bit of everything, which I like. I like to kind of see what's out there with everything.
What does it really say about you? What does for you really mean?
I mean, it's people you follow. It's people that they think because obviously I follow a lot of sports people and pages, and so they know I like sports, and so they'll throw me people I don't follow but that are posting about sports. But then it will also be pop culture and things that are just popular on Twitter. So it's a little bit of everything. All
right, I can already tell you on the For You, I don't know if I've ever been here. Way too much politics.
You kind of have to filter the politics out, and I think I've successfully done that, but because I don't really
finally get down to a little hockey.
It's your sport, so I would not put it past you. But
my Leaves doing it to me again.
Well, they are. It's a shame, but hey, Florida. I mean, back-to-back years they are rolling or skating right now. So you got to be happy if you're a Panther right now because they're playing well.
They're going for back-to-back.
They are, and they are. So far, so good, I guess. But how many two hockey games tonight? Hurricanes, Capitals, and then Stars, Jets. Tonight's your Jets trying to avoid
not anymore
elimination.
I'm done with them.
Oh wow! So you've already given up on them.
Yeah, they got down. What are they down? 3-1.
They're down 3-1.
Done.
So will you throw in the towel if Toronto is?
No, I'll always be a Leaf.
Toronto fan. That's probably
Leaf.
Smart.
Leaf for life.
Leaf pride.
Leaf pride.
Leaf
for life.
whatever it is.
Leaf Fam.
Leaf Fam.
Do they have a Leaf Fam?
I don't know what they're.
I feel like you're going to start the hashtag, Brett.
I think you should start the hashtag. You should.
Hashtag Leaf Fam.
It's going to be Stars, Oilers in the West, Panthers, Hurricanes in the East, right?
Panthers, Hurricanes. What a conference final. That's what people dreamed of when they started hockey.
Outside temperature entering the building for those could all be 90 plus.
Could be. Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. America taking
Same in
over.
Dallas.
Yeah. I mean, Dallas will be real warm. You mentioned it about a week or so ago, but Dallas, they have some very nice sweaters. They're that green,
that home green.
Oh man,
Dallas last time to win it, 99. I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. My hockey knowledge is very, very, very short in terms of.
You're leading in the picks.
Am I? Oh,
we got to wait till all this round gets done.
My hockey knowledge is just so deep. I'm like a fountain of hockey knowledge. So you need picks.
Last time,
at me.
99.
All right. Well, maybe your hockey knowledge is
I have some knowledge, but no.
Wow. Yeah. 6 under the leader right now at the PGA Championship. Is that about where you thought it would be after a day?
A little higher, especially with how the big boys were this morning. It's the little boys right now.
Yeah. This morning I thought we might be in trouble. It might be, 2 or 3 under, 4 under might be what you're getting to.
This isn't golf course. They just had that day.
That's right. Yeah, no, it is. It's been a fun day to watch, and we'll certainly talk a lot more about it here in our next segment to start the 5 o'clock hour. Rex Hoggard going to join us to talk all things PGA Championship. But before we get to this break, let me remind you, perfect time to head down to Frontier Western Store. Brett talked about how warm it's getting in some of these places. It's starting to get warm here in Memphis, so, get some new wardrobe, get some new clothing, head down to Frontier Western Store. They can definitely help you out. Family owned and operated since 1967. Frontier Western is your one-stop shop for the biggest brands like Carhartt, Wrangler, and so much more. Check out Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Whether it's work boots or dress boots, Frontier has you covered for the entire family with plenty of in-stock proven classics like Ariat, Dam Post, and Durango. Frontier Western Store, it's also the one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South, and they've also got so many more brands when it comes to shirts and jeans. You need a new pair of jeans? Well, Frontier has you covered with the biggest names from Ariat to Wrangler, and you'll love how easy it is to find the perfect style and size for you. Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deals. Head down 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch and check out the whole selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Head down to Olive Branch and check out Frontier Western Store. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up this second hour. When we return, like I mentioned, talking a lot of golf. Rex Hoggard from the Golf Channel. He joins us to talk the PGA Championship next.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Benstorff Realtors. I'm often called Shell Done because I sell homes and work with buyers and I get the job done. There are 7 keys to successfully selling your home quickly at a great price. First, call me. I do my research and advise you on preparation, presentation, and proper pricing that gets you the activity to get the best price. Follow my advice and it can happen. I did mention 7 keys to a successful sale, didn't I? Well, if you use the first key, calling or emailing me, you really don't need the next 6 keys. Remember, that's Sheldon Rosengarten at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. If you don't need me now, write it down for later or for a friend. That's Sheldon at 483-0546 at MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now, and who knows, you may hear your home advertised here. Remember, as bad a golfer as I am, when selling homes, Shell Done gets it done.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, or personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a moving that fully fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktie.com/Memphis to get your personal, no-obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, and comfortable. Wall-to-wall TVs, 24 taps for all your beers, including $3 domestic, $5
Oh, tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's 10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list, like this leaf blower. PayPal can pay for your purchase. The Great PayPal Checkout. No purchase necessary. Ends July 18th. See official rules at paypal.com/thegreatpaypalcheckout/terms. Participating merchants only must use PayPal Checkout online. Coverage of up to $100 and eligible purchases per card.
This traffic report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Good afternoon. MPD clearing up a couple of wrecks we had earlier, trying to pick up in the Midtown area. Right on schedule, actually, on 240 South at South Parkway. 240 as you get on to 385 Billmore. Parkway's finally starting to build. All that traffic this time of the afternoon headed out towards Collierville. Dandelions, crabgrass, nutgrass, Lawn Solutions here, and Memphis says not a problem. Call Lawn Solutions at 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Love Season. Once again,
You say you stand by your man.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And joining us now to talk the PGA Championship, Rex Hoggart from the Golf Channel. He joins us now. Rex, thanks so much for joining us. We're getting close to wrapping up day one of the PGA Championship. What's your big takeaway from day one?
I think we got what the PGA Championship gives us on pretty much, I don't want to say every occasion, but very often, where it's an eclectic leaderboard. Anyone who just tuned in is probably going to wonder if they're watching the PGA Championships or last week's Myrtle Beach Classic on the PGA Tour, because it's probably not names that most people know. You do have some cameos on top of the leaderboard. I think Scotty Scheffler is 2 under. I think he's plenty close. I think Bryson DeChambeau is playing pretty well. You're starting to see maybe the top players rise to the top, but it would be a little surprising if you're just tuning in and seeing that leaderboard.
Yeah, the golf course, it is played pretty fair today. Just the big boys didn't take advantage.
I think the golf course is what we know it to be. It's a big, burly golf course. It's long. It's been wet. It's playing even longer than maybe it normally does. I think fair is an interesting word for you to use, because if you ask me the story of the day, I would probably say mud balls. And no one wants to hear that. And I know that doesn't quite dovetail, but it's certainly, I think most people expected it to be an issue, but not like it cropped up today.
No way they allow lift clean in place, is it?
No, absolutely not. And, look, I think most players knew that coming in. I had a chance to talk with Kerry Haig. He's the Chief Championships Officer of the PGA of America about this earlier in the week. There's a reason why they've only done that, played lift clean in place, preferred lies, once really in the last decade, and that was way back in 2016 at Baltusrol. And they need to have really extenuating circumstances to do that. If they can't finish the tournament on Sunday night, would be the only way they would even consider it.
Rex, before we get too much past for this year's PGA Championship, you mentioned Kerry Haig. I wanted to ask you, were you surprised at the President's team, President's Cup announcement with Brandt Snedeker being the captain? And here in this area, across Tennessee, across this area, he had a brother that played golf at Ole Miss. We all love Brandt, but I was surprised because used to kind of anything PGA of America operated, you had to have some PGA Championship winning chops. And I just see Larry Nelson always passed over. Were you surprised of Brandt's selection as captain?
Not really. I think he's kind of an inspired choice, if you're being honest, and I don't know how it plays out. I mean, I think we're going to have to, kind of watch what kind of captain he's going to be. But you look at, and I asked Brandt this point blank on the day it was announced, that who of all the captains you played under, and he's also been an assistant captain, do you think you're going to pick from? And I think he has a wide variety of captains. I think he played for Davis Love and Jim Furyk and Steve Stricker, and I think all of those captains have left a mark on him. And I think he has the respect of the players. So in the big picture, I see what you're saying, and maybe some people would point, maybe he doesn't have the resume, but I do think he's going to be a very good captain.
Yeah. Everyone's been talking about the 1, 2, 3 group today. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Rory McIlroy. Rory McIlroy, after winning the Masters, a lot of people talking about him. What could he do at this major? 3 over for the day. What did you see out of Rory in day one?
He really struggled with his driver, which is shocking because coming in here, he was the easy favorite, the prohibitive favorite for all the right reasons. He's won here 4 times at Quail Hollow. He holds the course record. Might as well rename it TPC Rory McIlroy because he really knows how to play this golf course, and it boils down to how he's able to drive the golf ball. No one hits it as well when his game is on. He hits the big high draw, and that's exactly what this golf course demands, and he just didn't have it on Thursday. And, he had the same struggles with mud balls and that everyone else did, but I think his round was really dependent on what he did not do off the tee, and it's funny because doing that at Augusta is what got him that green jacket.
And a very popular winner. And since then, do you feel and see the relief from him that all the viewers got that Sunday night when he really let it all hang out, Rex? He'd been tormented by it.
Yeah, he'd been tormented. That's a good way of saying it. It was a burden that I don't think any of us really understood the weight of. When you look back at it, took him a decade to get over that line, and that's a long time to want something to try to work hard for and to come up short year in and year out. He talked about it at Augusta where it became a challenge every year showing up at the Masters, trying to motivate himself, trying to stay positive. I think the one thing, and that was the narrative earlier in the week, is that victory at the Masters sort of free him up to go on and really do something even more special in the major championships over the next few years and maybe go on a run like we've seen from other players, Jordan Spieth, Tiger Woods, others. I still think that's a possibility, but we have not seen it. We didn't see it today. I think that's probably a bit of a short sample size, but I would say that what he experienced at the Masters, even though he probably wouldn't put voice to it, it's going to take a minute to sink in. It's going to take a minute for him to maybe get back on track.
Scotty Scheffler 2 under for the day, with this leaderboard. If you're Scotty, especially in that group at 2 under, you got to be feeling pretty good after day one.
And it beats the heck out of last year. Well, that was going into day 2.
Yeah.
Well, anything's better than last year as long as you don't end up in jail. Yeah, I think he's on the right side of that right now. And no, I think he's fine. Look, there was a level of frustration that he had with specifically the mud balls that we talked about. He went to 16, and that was a perfect fairway. And the world number 1 and the game's preeminent ball striker, Scotty Scheffler, does not hit that shot on 16 from the middle of the fairway, and it hooks 100 feet left of where he was aiming. So I think there was some frustration as soon as he came off the golf course, but I'm with you. I think by the time he got back to his house tonight, he was fine.
Will it dry up? Can they do anything to make it dry faster?
I don't think they can do anything to make it dry faster. There is some irony, though, that the greens are pretty firm, considering how much water we got early in the week, and that has to do with their new greens. They have sub-air, so they have what they want in the greens. I don't think they can do much to get the golf course to dry out, and unfortunately, I think the mud balls are only going to become more of an issue as we get closer to Saturday.
Yeah. Justin Thomas has been playing well this year, gets his first win on tour in a while, but today it's been a struggle. He's ending his round a lot better than it started. 4 over through the first 6 holes, now back to 1 over with 2 more holes to finish out. What have you seen from Justin Thomas, not today really, but just this year and kind of getting that win and playing with more confidence?
I think today was a really good microcosm of what I've seen from JT this year. Go back to the Players' Championship. He had a horrid opening round. I think he shot 81. I might have that wrong, but it was awful. And he needed to do something very special to have any chance at all to make the cut. And he did on Friday to make the cut, put himself into contention, and played well. And I think it's that resilience that's gotten him through the last 2 or 3 years. We've probably talked a lot about the idea that his game hadn't been where he wanted to the last 2 or 3 years, and it is back. And I think what he did in Hilton Head is a better indication of what the type of player he is now after going through those struggles.
We're all addicted to the Golf Channel this week. What are the days and the hours like for you? And I will tell you, on Monday night, the Rich Lerner interview with Jimmy Harris was just great.
Yeah, I read that was pretty good. It's been fun, and everything that Johnson Wagner has done this week has been fun, and I expect him to continue to do that. It's actually, oddly enough, this week is not as maybe hectic as some other weeks at major championships because we don't have the rights to show it. It's an ESPN and CBS product. So once the play starts on Thursday, we're getting ready for late live from, so we'll be here late. But the days aren't quite as long as they were at the Masters, and they will be down the road
Are you and Ryan Lavender doing your podcast every day?
Every night, yeah. We're doing mini podcasts every night. We did a preview podcast last night, and then on Sunday night we do the full pod that airs Monday morning on Golf Channel.
Mm-hmm. And I love watching that. Any way that could grow into y'all being on with your podcast daily on golf?
Let's pump the brakes on that one a little bit.
Okay.
We're putting in enough work, but I appreciate the offer. I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that one for now.
You want a real life, huh? You want a family and everything, huh? Okay.
I love doing the pod with Lav. He's one of my closest friends in the entire world. Having the opportunity to do it for linear TVs now on Monday is just a tremendous opportunity, but it is a lot of work. So we'll work our way towards that.
And I very much enjoy Gary Williams on. The other morning he had Taylor Zarzer on, and a lot of fun with those guys.
Five Clubs is amazing. Matt Adams is amazing.
Sure is.
I love what we're doing with our early coverage now. We started it in January, where I think the people in charge of the Golf Channel realized we need to get more inventory in the morning, and essentially Monday through Wednesday. And I think we've done a good job of that.
Talking to Rex Hoggard, he joins us, talk the PGA Championship. Check him out on the Golf Channel. Every year now with the majors, one of the big stories is the LIV players. Brett and I were talking about it earlier. It feels like, for most of the year, these guys are kind of forgotten about as they're over on LIV playing their tournaments. And then for, the majors, they pop right back in front of us, and you're seeing a couple guys, hanging around. I've seen a lot of Bryson today, John Rahm, one under, but a lot of these guys really struggling when they're back over here for the majors. Kind of the big one, Brooks Koepka has really struggled in a lot of the majors since joining LIV. What have you seen from these LIV guys, and how big of a story is it still, at the course, at these events when these guys come back?
I think it's been normalized over the years since, of course, that first major at the Masters when all the LIV guys and the PGA Tour guys came back together. And I think what we saw there was the players, if they liked you before you left to go to LIV, and they still like you, you're still part of the fraternity inside the locker room. And I think that has worked its way outside the locker room. I still think there's storylines associated with that are interesting. You brought up Brooks Koepka. Here is a player who famously learned how to flip switch. Like, he could be playing not great in regular PGA Tour events, and that somehow when he would show up at a major, he just turned on something special. There was a secret sauce, and that hasn't been there. He missed the cut at the Masters. He certainly struggled today. It doesn't look like he's going to make the cut this week unless he does something special on Friday. I think the other one that would stand out to me is John Rahm. Like, I think there's you mentioned it. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on players who join LIV to maybe justify that move and come back and play the majors and still prove that they're top 5 players. And I'm not saying that they're not. I make the argument all the time that if you're a top 5 or a top 10 player when you left the PGA Tour to join LIV, you're still a top 5 or a top 10 player. But I can see a player like John Rahm or even Brooks Koepka can get it in their mind that I have to prove something, and that's probably not a recipe for success.
Rex, it looks like John Rahm that it's really nagging at him. It does not appear that he's playing happy golf.
I would argue, I'm not quite sure he was playing happy golf before he joined LIV Golf, so I'm not quite sure of that. He was always serious. He's always very intense. That's the competitive nature, really, of Spaniards. He touched on it earlier this week. There is a unique pressure that I think came with John's jump, however, to LIV Golf. I think in his mind, he felt like he was going to be the domino that made it all come back together in a strange way. I think in his mind, at that point in time, the PGA Tour's best player, which he was at the time, leaving to go to LIV Golf, which forced him into negotiating a little bit harder with the Public Investment Fund and bringing the two sides together, and that clearly hasn't happened.
Do you think Luke Donald and Keegan Bradley have captain side bets this week?
No, it was fun. It is interesting that the sitting captains have not finished inside the top 10 at a major championship, any major championship, I think, since 1937. I mean, it's been a minute. So to have both of those guys play well today was fun. I think it was the bigger surprise, obviously, is Luke Donald. He's played 3 events this year on tour and hasn't made the cut in any of them. You wouldn't think this is a golf course. I don't think they have a side bet, but Luke was asked that if we finish tied 14-14 at Bethpage at the Ryder Cup later this year, how about you and Keegan do a match? And Luke just smiled and said, no, it's a tie. I'll take the trophy and go home.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm guessing 37, just wild guess. It had to be Gene Sarazen.
I believe that's right. Gene Saracen was one of them. I'm blanking on who the European captain was.
Yeah, we could be here to the end of time, and I don't think I could come up with it. Rex Hoggard with us from Charlotte, from the PGA Championship on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. We talked to Doug Bell from PGA Tour Radio the other day. I asked him about it. You go to a lot of great golf places. You come to Memphis. We are a great golf town. That's why we talk a lot of golf and have our great tournament. But Charlotte and North Carolina, and last year at Fame Pinehurst, they are really special places. Where would you rank Charlotte and rank Quail Hollow and the patrons and the fans of this event?
I think what Johnny Harris has done here is inspired. And it's a vision. And he wanted to take essentially what the magic that they've created at Augusta National and create that same magic here in Charlotte. And he's done it, and he's done it through tireless work. And he's done it through just relentless effort to make sure that every single year the golf course, the tournament, everyone in the community gets better. And as a result of that, it's why we have the PGA Championship here, and why the 2022 President's Cup was here, and why he's going to continue to host big events as well as the PGA Tour event. Quail Hollow is built for a big event. He has created that out of thin air, and that's difficult to do. I mean, that takes a lot of work now in the modern age. So I think he gets a lot of the credit, and I've been lucky enough to spend a good amount of time in the Charlotte area. They do have amazing golf here.
They sure do. And he said in that interview Monday night with Rich Lerner, when they started, Charlotte was 200,000 people, now 2 million.
I mean, by the traffic this week, I can believe it.
I bet.
Oh, man. A guy that I've really loved watching over the last couple of years is Ludwig Aubert, the young Swede, a guy that's been really close at major events, but just hasn't been able to come through and get a win. I believe 2 under right now. What do you expect the rest of the weekend from him?
He plays majors amazingly well when you consider that. I'm not going to have the number off the top of my head. I think this is probably his 6th major championship in his life.
Yeah.
I think that's probably about right. And it is interesting. Before he was injured last year, before he injured his knee, he played really well at Augusta, and then he dropped off a little bit the rest of the year. And it had everything to do with that injury. I just think it took him a while to recover. He had surgery in the offseason, and we're starting to see that same Ludwig now. He played well at Augusta National, and it's no surprise. He's playing well here. This is the type of golf course that style of play, which is the modern game, is always going to excel on.
Who was your pick before the first round, and has today changed anything, and who will it be? Who do you think will be holding the Wanamaker on Sunday night?
It was Rory, and I would simply be stubborn and stupid if I stayed with Rory, unfortunately. He did not get off to a good start. I would justify it pointing to all the things that I've already said about Rory. If I had to redo it, it would be Scotty now. If you gave me a mulligan and let me do it after the first round, because even though he clearly wasn't happy with that first round, by the end of the day, he's only going to be a few shots back, and no one hits the ball better than he does. He is still the game's best ball striker.
Today looked a little bit like all 4 rounds at Augusta under the Tiger A game, B game. He had anything but his A game and was still right there. And, it was really shrouded by everything with Bryson and Rory McIlroy. That's how good he is on that less than great day. He's still really good.
And you look at what he did last time, he had something close to his A game, and that was Dallas 2 weeks ago, and he won by 8.
Yeah. Just crazy. Birdie fest. And it really should have been more.
Could have been. He took his foot off the gas a little bit, but you can't blame him.
Yeah, no, you definitely can't. Well, Rex, as always, thanks so much for joining us. I know you're really busy this week, so we definitely appreciate you giving us some time. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and we'll do it again soon.
Thank you, boys. See you soon.
Thank you very much. Rex Hoggard from the Golf Channel, and just always great to have him on. And I enjoy his podcast with Ryan Laffner, and they show, like you said, they show it on Monday mornings on Golf Channel. Do you realize, I think technically, I call it Golf Channel and will to my last day, but I think it is listed now on the TV directory as just golf.
I think it is. I think you might be right.
That they are trying to drop the channel part.
Yeah, I think you might be right, because now that you've said that, I think I have seen that is that's kind of what it.
I love how they've incorporated and kind of rebranded a little bit and brought in early morning talkers and great podcasters.
Well, look at you, Brett. You're becoming a podcast listener. You're just jumping into 2025. You're only listening to podcasts if they're on your television, though.
Hi, Hardman.
I suppose, okay?
Will I watch a ball game on Amazon before I've ever ordered the first thing on Amazon.
No question about it, right? Yes, I don't know if you will ever order the first thing off of Amazon, but it's convenient. I mean, it's great. I mean,
I never went when it was just kind of the book place to go for books.
Yeah.
I still haven't been.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. I mean, 2-day shipping. Oh, it's beautiful.
2-day shipping of anything?
Pretty much. I mean, some things will tell you that it can't, but pretty much if it's, if Amazon recognizes it, then it's pretty much 2 days, and so you get it, and that might only be with Prime, though. I'm a Prime member, so,
I'm going to have to order something and just see if they can find my house. Nobody else can.
Yeah, good luck with that. But
I don't know why.
They have to take a picture of it when they put it at your door, and you get a picture on the app, and so you can see that they left it at your door. So you can be up here, and then
you lost me at app.
It's great. I mean, I buy everything on Amazon now. Just
I had before all the reconstruction the best numbered house up and down the street. People could not find me. Any delivery service could not find me.
Like you order a pizza and they're delivering.
Oh, I gave up on pizza years ago.
Really?
It's all I go pick it up.
Wow. So, I love DoorDash, so you would not be able to do DoorDash.
You think we have DoorDash in Forsyth?
Oh, yeah. No, I assure you there's someone out there DoorDash, and I can almost guarantee someone's out there DoorDash.
All that's with your credit card, isn't it?
Of course.
Pass.
I'll get you a gift card. They got DoorDash gift cards.
I don't want my ID stolen.
Gift cards for everything. Well, so far, knock on wood, I don't think my identity is.
You're good?
Stolen. I think I'm good.
Y'all live. I know weekends up here. DoorDash is the key.
DoorDash comes in clutch when you're running games. That is for sure.
Rex is fun to visit with.
It's really fun to visit with. We're lucky. We've got some really good golf games.
We do.
That just come on and make it really fun, really enjoyable. Here's my guy Aaron Rye getting ready for a shot. I was
two glove Aaron Rye.
Oh, I mean it's great. I was
maybe best swing on tour.
I was getting the itch while we were talking to Rex of pulling out an Aaron Rye question, but I held back.
If he jars it from here, one shot out of the lead.
And look at him. I mean, that is, because, wow, now Cam Davis has dropped a
Your
shot.
Your team, Aaron Rye, too.
I love Aaron Rye. I mean,
that stance is prototype.
It's really good. And it's the thing. So we were talking about this off air. A little peek behind the curtain. You made that comment, and I agreed with you. And you made the comment of, I'm sure that was something that you noticed the first time.
That was the attraction.
That's what got you in. Definitely wasn't. But I will say this. Watching him, every single swing is the exact same with him, and it's a whole.
It's automatic.
I mean, it's robotic. It is a setup. It is a point. I know what I'm looking at. I'm a step up. It's the exact same mechanics every single time. It really is fun to watch.
We are at a point where we're not as talky centric as it once was,
and that's why I was real curious and why I asked the question to Rex, because obviously the first tournament it was huge, but then even after that, it was every single time those guys were back was, ooh, the live guys are back. What's the conversation going to be this time? What's it going to be? Yada yada yada. And I've just noticed over the last 2 or 3 majors that has not been a talking point at all. That those guys are mentioned. Bryson DeChambeau is picked every single major because he's playing really good golf, but it's just not the talking point that it was at one point, and I think that's a good sign. And so obviously Rex being there and being around all these guys, I was curious his outlook on it, and he kind of said it's just kind of normal. If you were friends with people before, you're friends with them after. If you weren't, you probably still aren't. So maybe some normalcy to the tour and live.
Remember Doug Bell's pick, do you?
Doug Bell. No, I don't remember his
Colin Morikawa.
Oh, that's right.
A big price.
He loved that. That was one of the things he said is he loved the odds for it. So
hanging in there.
He sure is.
One round.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be funny. I hope it's funny tomorrow afternoon. When we're talking at 3:00 and to see how the leaderboards changed, and what it looks like going into the weekend, because I think it could be a lot different, and how much of it I think we're seeing guys play well in the afternoon. You know, obviously Rex Hogger was talking about the mud balls that became a big factor. Scotty Scheffler was not happy at all after it with the mud balls. And so, you know, how much of the round tomorrow is affected by that? And if that changes, those guys going off in the afternoon instead of the morning, how does that big time group fare tomorrow?
Not to be a wise guy, but a little bit like the Cowboys' scheduling complaints, Landon, when I said they play in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Scotty, everybody's playing the same golf course.
Everyone's dealing with this.
Everybody's just as aggravated by it. They didn't single you out, and he's not a complainer.
No. But I do wonder, you know, when you're a guy like Scotty Scheffler, and you're a guy like Rory McIlroy, those things bother you, right? Like when that happens, you get mad. How much is that? What's our fella Gerard's first name?
I don't know.
How much is that affecting him? If the mud balls happen to him, he's like, that's another day on the course for me. Like, you know, I just think like maybe there's a little bit of a
flame was fleeting for Gerard, wasn't it?
Well, it was, yeah. I mean, he's back up in the tied for the lead now.
Ryan Gerard. I had to look it up.
I mean, Ryan Gerard's going through the round. Mud ball happens. He's like, okay, cool. Like, let's keep moving. But that happens for Scotty, and it becomes a big deal. That happens for Rory. It becomes a big deal. Like, I wonder how much of that affects and maybe doesn't affect some of these smaller names that we don't really know.
And again, Scotty's not a whiner.
No.
And didn't whine about all that last year. Laughed about it. Now he's laughing about it. Maybe not as much that day. But when I hear in football, all the weather, well, both teams are playing in it.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if you're the Chargers,
sure,
the ultimate warm weather dome team playing in Buffalo, maybe. But if it's rain,
yeah. I'll give Miami a little bit of a pass when they're going up to Kansas City and it's negative 23 out there or whatever it was. But you know, a lot of this stuff, I'm
just no excuses.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But it has been a fun first day, and I think tomorrow will be even better. But you're right. Yeah, here's Colin Morikawa, 3
right
under.
There, 3 under.
It really is right there.
Hitting into 18.
Yeah, all right. So
primo spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot. That's a great view. That's doing it really nice over there at Quail. Before we get to a break, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs, the Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com. But head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk about what's trending.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in focus and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar are by far the most popular local breakfast and lunch destinations in Memphis. If you haven't been to either Sunrise location, then your friends and coworkers know something you don't. There is simply nowhere else in Memphis where you get such a high-quality breakfast or lunch made fast, fresh, and just for you. People you know are talking about you behind your back because you haven't tasted the deliciousness that is Sunrise. And there are two of them. One of them has to be close to you, and you still haven't had the best breakfast or lunch in town. For shame. For shame.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with the NC Quarter with 24/7 sports. Your Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC sports ball, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Garvey from kickoff to free throw to extra innings. Your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yellow Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South sports station. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's got a little bit heavier trying to get out of Midtown. The last few minutes, 240 south at South Parkway as you continue down into South Haven. Right now, it's building pretty good down 55. Loading up over here, 240 east up by Poplar. No surprise to see it heavier than it was 15, 20 minutes ago on 40 east from Sycamore View Road all the way out into Fayette County. Weimer's Jewelry here in town. I want you to know they are your diamond engagement ring headquarters this coming bridal season. Stop by and see David and his family at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We're back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show. We got to talk about what's trending. A couple things trending. I want to talk about some of the things from scheduling last night in the NFL. I know Brett has just pages upon pages upon pages of notes from the broadcast last night.
I got into live from. I kind of let us down.
Oh, Brett, that was your.
I was gonna have it handled for us, right?
That was your beat last night. I mean, you're supposed to be on top of it. I want to get
so much was out.
Everything was out. I mean, what were we watching for?
And I knew I got 4 months to to get it down.
I mean, what are we doing? It was on ESPN, right? What channel?
It was on ESPN and NFL Network.
Oh, okay, so both. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'll be honest, Brett. Didn't even
not a second.
Flip on to it. Not a second.
I watched some, but I got into basketball and
of course
the Cardinals and live from and
how about the Cardinals last night? I mean,
speaking of NFL Network,
we buried them before the show was over yesterday.
We did, but it ended up winning with 2 Jim Hart to Jackie Smith touchdown passes and 2 Jim Bakken extra points, 14-7 over the Eagles.
It was something. I was was shocked the way that played. I think so. I get notifications on my phone like every time the Cardinals score or the opposing team scores. Anytime there is a run scored in the game, I get a notification on my phone that tells me
from ESPN.
Mine is from, I think, CBS Sports.
Okay.
But
I've just learned how to have a favorite team and stay up with the Cardinals.
Wow.
Constantly.
Okay. Wow. Well, making progress, I guess. So last night, I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was like an issue with the app or something. So I drive home. I'm doing something. I have not had the chance to turn anything on at this point. And I look down at my phone, and I have just one notification that says the score is now 7-6. And
like in the fourth inning.
Yeah, and I'm like, how in the world did this happen? Where are all the other runs that were scored? Like, I only got one notification that it was now 7-6.
So you jumped from 4-1, 7-6.
Exactly. And so I was like,
and
all
Sonny
right.
Gray was trying to stay in there and eat it, and they finally had to pull him.
Had to pull him. But yeah, a really impressive win last night for the Cardinals to split the doubleheader.
You know, after you have that long winning streak, then have that heartbreak to break a potential 10-gamer. Who knows that if win that one, we might get out there to 18, 19, 20 in a row like in 2021. But when you come back from down 4-1 early and win with a football score of 14-7, you know what that means?
What does that mean?
Cardinals never lose another game.
I love it. I love it. Let's crown it. Off day today. Much needed off day today.
Have they lost since?
That's a great point. They have not. Before we get to scheduling, though, I do want to talk about this Caleb Williams story on ESPN right now.
I think Steve's hands were a little tied with the legal talking too much about it. I could feel maybe
Steve.
Back away from that one. Sure don't want to get a good man in trouble.
Though. I mean, Memphis showboats with Caleb Williams as your quarterback.
It would keep our Heisman tradition going in Memphis.
It's true. That is very true.
Had Johnny, had the late Rashawn Salam.
That's true. So
had John Hurett with the Southman Grizzlies.
Yeah. So, I mean,
had Eddie George with that 1 year of the Tennessee Oilers.
Yeah.
With I guess they were Memphis on their jersey.
They were in Memphis.
Yeah.
If that counts for anything.
They were. 7 weeks.
That's true. So Seth Wickersham is writing a book called American Kings, A Biography of the Quarterback. It's set to release in September, I believe. But in this book, basically how it was portrayed in this story, at least, it is just an all you could ever want quarterback book. It's got stories from retired quarterbacks. It's got stories from current quarterbacks. It's got I think there are quotes from Arch Manning in here about being a starting quarterback in the state of Texas in high school, and then going and now being a college quarterback. So it's like every single level is going to be covered in this book. But Caleb Williams and his father were both interviewed for this book. Carl Williams, his father, and the best quote from there are a lot of great quotes in the story, but the best one is before the draft even took place. Carl Williams telling Seth Wickersham, Chicago is a place quarterbacks go to die.
Well, historically, he's right.
It is.
Jay Cutler was good there.
Cutler was good.
Got to an NFC championship game, got hurt.
Yeah.
Jim McMahon was good because what he had around him. By himself, I don't know that he would have, but he was good.
But you look recently, I mean, they've taken some quarterbacks in the first round that have just not worked out at all. I mean, Justin Fields didn't work out at all.
Mitch Trubisky.
Hard to forget about him. He doesn't work out. So, I mean.
And the deal that they passed on that they could have had Mahomes forever haunt you.
Yeah, well, that will haunt you forever. But this story is crazy. I mean, we knew that before the draft that Caleb really did not want to go to Chicago.
And they were out there wheeling and dealing.
They were.
He did in college from OU to USC.
Sure did.
I don't blame him.
No, not at all. But, I mean, a lot of really interesting stuff in here to the point where Caleb and Carl were ready to start attacking the city of Chicago to try to make it so bad that the Bears would have no choice. Because if they draft this guy, he has been publicly hating on the city. The fans are going to hate it.
Watch that.
And Caleb Williams had a meeting with the Bears and the front office and everything and said, I can't do this to Chicago. I'm going to go and I'm going to be their quarterback.
He ratted his dad's plan out?
I think it might have been Carl that actually shared that. I think Carl was the one that shared that with in the story. I think it's I can.
Well, even this out there.
That's crazy.
You have that 2 or 3 pick ugly Sunday afternoon, late November in Chicago. Those fans are rough and tumble.
That's kind of where I was getting at. Is this might be the quotes for the tell-all book after Caleb Williams is retired and has
maybe
had
after
a great
you've had a
career.
parade.
And if he goes down as Bears legend and Hall of Fame and all that stuff, then maybe you have the tell-all book of, hey, at one point, I was going to publicly hate the city.
Jim Kelly, Chad Kelly's Uncle Jimmy, he would tell us a lot of fun stories. He thought he was being sent to Siberia going to Buffalo. And had a lot of comments around when they took him that I'll never go. Had the Houston Gamblers, USFL, great years. And then he goes there and, one of the 3 or 4 or 5 legendary Buffalo Bills, Buffalo sports athletes ever.
Yeah, I mean.
But his aversion was the weather. Had grown up and played high school football in Pennsylvania, but then after going to the U, and it was a long time before they were really the U, they were really kind of still Miami of Florida then. You had the special designation for them in Ohio then. He just didn't want to go up there, took the money from the USFL, but then when it folded, he had to, they had his rights, and he didn't want to go. But he did some talking before, but the real tell-all afterwards, after taking them to 4 Super Bowls.
That's when you can do the tell-all. But
I don't know that John Elway ever ran down Baltimore, but they made it. They made it clear.
And this story talks about that, of how they were kind of gonna try to pull that off and kind of do similar to what happened then.
The 30 for 30 on Elway and all that around the draft. It's so well done. And George Steinbrenner really helped them playing along. He was good at baseball. But they had him kind of made out to be the next Mickey Mantle. Slow way down on that.
The other thing, and last thing on this, and I do want to get to scheduling, talking about how he wanted to go to a division rival. Quote, I need to go to the Vikings, he told his father.
Preference for the Vikings mostly because of indoors?
Because of Kevin O'Connell and that offense. Wanted to play for Kevin O'Connell. Didn't like what Chicago had as head coach and offensive coordinator. And
he should like it now.
I was about to say, things have really changed since then. But yeah,
the Washington game really did something to them last year.
Oh, no. It was,
and they meet this year.
Yeah, that was a turning point.
What week? You know
I
when?
don't know
I
off
don't
the
either.
top of my head the week. I will say this, though, while you're looking that up. This is the quote, or I guess the part of the story where it talks about that. At the NFL Combine that year, he met with Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. The two hit it off, and Caleb Williams began to dream of what it would be like to play for Minnesota. Quote, I need to go to the Vikings, end of quote. He told his father, let's do it, his father replied, but both Caleb and Carl knew that a trade to a divisional rival was extremely unlikely. Bears GM Ryan Poles stood firm, telling Williams, we're drafting you no matter what. So I wonder, are they telling him,
well, good for him,
we want to go to the Vikings? I mean, it feels like this got pretty ugly around the draft between him and the Bears front office.
I think a little soon.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, this is early.
But now if that's Wickersham's independent reporting, you got to report it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure it is.
And certainly we'll sell
Bears
it for the
Commanders, or as John Harden calls them, the Commandos. Bears and Commanders, Monday night, October 13th. That's about the same stretch of the year of the Hail Mary.
It's right there, yeah.
That really catapulted one team and sabotaged another one.
Yeah. That is
with rookie
much.
Quarterbacks, it can be fragile out there.
Yeah.
Next year, Landon, every week to week, be watching for those. That we can build on this. He's got it. Or with the rookie quarterback.
Oh, that's going to be every week. It's going to flip flop.
Well, you've lived it. You've lived it with the Titans, so you know it.
Oh yeah, all my life.
Yeah.
Just recently,
from
Levis.
From Jake Locker all the way to Will Levis.
Right. Oh, Will Levis.
Oh, I was big on Jake Locker. Never big on Will Levis. Ever.
Yeah. Well,
I wasn't either.
Good on
Mayo
both,
and coffee. Come on.
Oh, yeah. You can't trust anybody that does that. So, what were you
too careless with the ball at Kentucky?
Yeah. Well, that is also true. What were you looking for? What stood out to you from scheduling us?
I always like to go to see the dome teams and how many with the road, they're playing all the home games under a dome, but how many times they go on the road, and then how that could affect them later in the year when they have to take it out on the road. It's not that many instances of it this year. I think one team plays 13 of 17 games in a dome. Who was that? You got to keep an eye on that later in the year. Also, all the games that involve Buffalo late in the year when they really – that is such an advantage.
Yeah.
Much more than they going – let's say they closed out they don't, but let's say they closed out the final week at Miami. That's not as hard as Miami going the other way.
Yeah.
It's just not.
No, it's not at all. And how about I saw, I think maybe Get Up this morning talking about it. Bills only one game outside of the Eastern time zone this year.
I didn't catch that.
So I mean, they're going to be right there. The bedtime's not going to be changed.
And no featured games. No featured games for the Titans.
Yeah.
You got to win to get those.
You do.
Or be the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, that is true.
This year, final week, Bills hosting Jets. So both used to miserable weather.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the two things I was looking at, I want to see what do the schedules look like for the Saints and for the Browns because of those quarterback situations at both those places. And for the Browns, it is not going to be easy. You start the season at home, so that's good. Against the Bengals, we know the defense was not very good at all last year for the Bengals.
So is this the when does your doer start angle?
It could be, because after that game, you go to the Ravens. That was a 12-win team last year, a really good team, a good defense. Home versus the Packers, another really good team. At the Lions, home versus the Vikings, and at the Steelers. And we know, who cares how many games they win or lose, their defense is always going to be awesome. That is a really tough start for the season, and that could be week 6, 7. We could just be rotating through quarterbacks at that point.
Sure could, and that gives, whether it's Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, almost no chance.
Yeah. I mean, it's really tough. And then, because you're already seeing Stefanski's being asked at rookie minicamp, hey, why'd you start why was Dylan Gabriel the first guy taking snaps today? I don't know.
They have to know that's coming.
No, I mean, it's going to be every single
Kevin
day.
Stefanski's been around pro sports his whole life.
Exactly. But I mean, those are going to be the questions. And so if we get to that point of the season, it's going to be, when are you going to put him? You didn't give him enough time. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Everything is going to be nitpicked with the Browns this year if they do get off to a bad start.
Not only are the Browns mostly in the Eastern time zone, they're mostly at Central Time, 12 noon, 1 o'clock Cleveland. They have an 8:30 game in London. They have one less 8:30 or one more 3 o'clock window game than they do 8:30 in the morning.
Holy cow.
3:05 and 3:25 twice.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. That is...
Well, if you've got any Browns on your fantasy team, you'll know where you stand at 3 o'clock every week.
You'll feel either really good or really bad, I guess, by that later window. The Saints, on the other hand, 4 of their first 6 games are at home. So no matter who that starting quarterback is, that's a little better.
So Brian, in the end, you had the draft covered better than I did. And I was,
what'd I tell you, Brett? I mean...
That was supposed to be my... hand, wasn't it?
No need to watch it. You'll get all the information after the fact. I mean, it's no point. But hey, if they...
Y'all don't feel let down, do you?
No.
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Seeing as I was very out front about I was not going to watch a single second of it, I can't be disappointed.
Well, I was really wallowing with my leaves.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is lights out for the Leaves.
It's over again.
It was lights out for you last night. So
when do they play again? Friday night?
Yeah, I think tomorrow night, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
but it's not in Miami. That's not where the
right. It's
Sunrise, Florida.
Exactly. Yeah, it's right outside. It's in the Everglades of Florida. So
be careful there.
Well, you gotta be. But let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. When we return, we'll wrap things up with Crunch Time.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis.
Just the place where you get your oil change. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 91271-5199.
Hey, it's Cavino and Rich. And whether you're heading to the office, kicking back to watch the game, or enjoying a night on the town, Travis Matthew has you covered. They create versatile apparel designed to make you look and feel your best, wherever the day takes you.
From performance-driven styles to everyday essentials for both men and women, Travis Matthew bridges the gap between style and comfort. Ready to elevate your everyday? Visit TravisMatthew.com and get 20% off your first order when you sign up for email. That's TravisMatthew.com.
This Memorial Day, turn up the heat with the home cooking. Find the perfect grilling patio set to keep the cookouts coming all season long. Grill up a feast with the next move 4-burner gas grill, 200 and complete your space with stylish Glenridge tall Jenkins Floors and More invites you to the retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Also stores in Cleveland, Mississippi and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business. Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Metis today. 901-382-2363 or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so
Spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, a super interesting story about a newly Green Bay basketball commit, Ramel Bethea from Miracosta College, that is a junior college, committed to Green Bay earlier today. Now, the weird thing about Bethea is he is 28 years old committing to Green Bay out of JUCO. So you might be wondering, how in the world is he still playing? Well, he graduated high school in 2014 and was 6'3" out of high school, had played basketball in high school, not getting any offers to play basketball at the next level. He goes and joins the military, serves in the Navy. While he was in there, he gets a massive growth spurt, jumps up to 6'9". That is Gottlieb up at Green Bay. While he's in the Navy, 6'9", 7'4" wingspan, people are like, hey,
David Robinson,
you should go play play basketball. So he's like, I like what I'm doing at the Navy. He gets done with
David
his
Robinson
time.
became an admiral. He really didn't. But.
But he ends his time with the Navy, decides to go to Miracosta College. This year averaged 12.7 points, 9.3 rebounds, 4.6 blocks per game. Will now be playing for Green Bay. So a really interesting story for a very interesting coach in Doug Gottlieb.
I think an interesting guy and great at what he does.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Talk show. Provocative.
Very.
Thoughtful.
Very.
And I think it's so unfair that anytime it's a touchy issue, what about the credit card? It was 35 years ago. 30 years ago, easy.
Time has well passed on that.
What I learned, my Leaves have done it to us again.
Oh, Brad.
Hard being a Leaves fan. The misery just continues. My Jets are done. Canada's only hope is Edmonton. And for them, we just hope the Canadians can stay nice and say a lot.
Well, they're really good at that. What I could have done without... It's that story we were talking about just a second ago with Caleb Williams, this book that's supposed to be coming out in September about a bunch of different quarterbacks, but we're now seeing quotes from both Caleb Williams and his father, Carl Williams, basically saying, we do not want to, under any circumstances, be part of the Chicago Bears franchise. Now, obviously, things changed. I'm sure it changed when he knew for a fact, I'm going to be a Chicago Bear whether I like it or not. But it got so bad that, Brett, this says he was trying to figure out, could he go to the UFL, spend a year there, and then be a free agent where he could pick whatever team he wanted to go to. Then obviously goes to Chicago Bears. Had a fine season last year, but again, after 1 year, for those quotes to be coming out, oh, that's risky.
I feel better about him now than I did this time last year.
Oh, definitely.
I thought he took his lumps, took it well, and led with a lot of adversity. I could do without playoff Jimmy, but it had never led to title Jimmy. And he's constantly title shopping. Refused to come to Memphis. There's no doubt about that in a deal. And the Grizzlies, with the same number of titles all time that Jimmy has.
Well,
Zip.
That is unfortunately true for both sides, I guess you could say. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beat me to second round tomorrow at Quail for 107th PGA Championship. Cut line will be established. See if the big boys can be a little bit bigger today. It was the day for the
little guys, Brett.
Obscure.
It sure was.
That leaderboard.
The obscure. Eclectic is what Rex Hoggard called it. I thought that was
word.
a good word to use for today. Beam me to the big one tonight in Denver. Thunder at Nuggets. Thunder, opportunity to punch their ticket. I'm going to say the Nuggets win
Me
tonight.
too. I think we'll repeat it last night.
Game. Yeah.
I hadn't been right on any of these games.
So I guess put your bets in for the Thunder tonight.
No NBA on Saturday. It'll just be all baseball, Preakness, and golf. We'll talk all those subjects tomorrow and NBA tomorrow.
That's right.
Light baseball schedule tonight. Astros at Rangers. They hate each other.
Yes,
they really do.
They absolutely do.
And A's at Dodgers, 1974 World Series.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. Limited, but still a lot of action. Enjoy the night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon.